Hello and welcome to Giant Mess, a sloppy sports entertainment talk show about movies, TV, New York Giants, New York Mets, comedy, whatever comes up in the old bean. It's hosted by a Giant Mess, Neal Lynch, that's me. On this episode, we're going to be talking about Valentine's Day. It's a lovey-dovey kind of throwback episode, spiked with anger and a little bit of spite. We're going to be talking about Love is Blind, the new Netflix reality dating show. To All the Boys, P.S. I Still Love You, the sequel to All the Boys I've Loved Before, a rom-com on Netflix, because I'm a rom-com guy. Sorry, not sorry. We'll also be talking about Season 5 of BoJack Horseman. I finally was able to binge that. We'll also do some throwback movie reviews. After Earth, Alien vs. Predator Requiem, and The Host. And if we have some time, we'll get around to the Mets and Giants. Pitchers and catchers have reported. You have players arriving to camp. A lot of rumors around who the Giants are going to cut, who the Giants are going to trade for, who the Giants are going to draft, who the Giants are going to sign in free agency. So we'll dive into all that. And it will probably take 4.5 hours. So buckle up. Strap on in. So let's just dive right in. I'm in a fucking mood. I'm in a mood. My daughter, I picked her up from daycare today. And from 6:30ish to it's now almost 8:30, this child freaked the fuck out. Nonstop. No matter what I threw at this chick, she was not having it. Food, no. Water, no. Milk, no. Sleep, no. Clothes, fresh diaper, no. You want to buckle in? No. You want to half buckle in? No. You want to take the buckle off? No. You don't want to go in the car seat? Great. That was the worst I've ever seen her. And you know, granted, she's sick. I think I'm looking at the baby monitor right now. She just closed her eyes and is now fading off into slumber. Whew. Wow. Nope, she's up and moving. Great. I feel like every time I get on this fucking microphone, I talk about how my life's in shambles and how it's tough and rough and far from buff. There's a slogan. Throw that on a fucking t-shirt. And, morale at all-time low. Went to the psychiatrist and picked up Lexapro. So now I got that going for me. Got some nice antidepressants. I haven't taken any of them yet because the last time I went on antidepressants, Brintellix or whatever the fuck it's called, I became a zombie. Just neutral, permanently neutral. And so I'm not looking forward to the Lexapro. I'm not looking forward to having to depend on pills in order for me to feel fucking normal. But that's where we're at. That's where we are right now. Some people got it and I don't got it. I don't got it. That's for sure. I got a series of negative comments on a older video I did about the Mets, where I just talked about some 4 up-and-coming prospects and how I struggled pronouncing Jimenez, I think is one of them. And this asshole decided to leave 3 comments. Why he's watching the entire video and leaving 3 comments, that is beyond me. I guess that's troll life for you. If you're going to be a troll, if you're going to be good at being a troll, you need to make sure that you hate watch the entire video and then assault the person who uploaded it. I picked my nose a lot. I got a nose picking problem. Yeah, that's just who I am. My nose does not cooperate with who I am. Does not obey, does not kowtow to anyone. It won't back down. My nose has got boogies, pumping out boogies left and right, 24/7 nonstop. It's a factory. And there's no way to shut it down. And there's no way to appease it, satisfy it. It's a monster. My nose is a monster. And there's no 2 ways about it. And this dude, ironically enough, named Alex Torres, who was a former Mets pitcher. And I'm wondering if he's lashing out because it is Alex Torres, former Mets pitcher. And if you remember Alex Torres, former Mets pitcher, he had a gigantic hat, padded hat almost looked like a little bit like Mario or Luigi. Just a giant, puffy, padded hat. Kind of like the equivalent of, who was that Bills safety that had the padded helmet that we talked about a couple episodes ago in Super Bowl 25? Mark Kelso. I know David Wright had the Gigundo helmet for a little bit because he got knocked in the bean, in the noggin. And so he had a big helmet to kind of protect him in case a ball hit him in the head again. Alex Torres had a padded hat when he was on the bump on the mound to protect him from, I don't know, permanent brain damage if he ever got hit in the head with a line drive again. And maybe this Alex Torres is CTE. And he's angry because he's confused and he's lost. And so he watches my video from start to finish and leaves 3 nasty comments about how I pick my nose, how I'm white, and that's why I can't pronounce Jimenez, and that I should quit. And yeah, I got mad online. Thought about how I should respond to this dude, go in on him for whatever reason. And then immediately after I saw that, I clicked on like some kind of article with the headline, like 1800s philosopher argument explains why arguing online is null and void. Like just is a no-win situation. Which, I don't know. Some people would beg to differ. Chrissy Teigen seems to own people left and right on Twitter. So she seems to be doing it right. I can't do it. I can't do it in group texts. I'm getting fucking owned in group texts all the time. All the time. I'm the permanent butt of the joke. And there's just, the comeback doesn't come, the immediate comeback that comes to me is lame or try hard, trying to be funny, or like trying to be too tough or hard. And I get called out immediately for that. And then if I do come up with an awesome comeback, it's days later and it's like, dude, we're on to Baltimore. We're on to Cincinnati. Like, why would we care about this a week later? So horrible trash talker. And I've admitted that in the past. So might as well just let that Alex Torres with his puffy Mario hat continue to own me and troll me and get me mad online. I mean, this dates back years. People were getting my goat for years. It's just easy to do. My goat is gettable. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. So, really awesome headspace I'm in right now. Super psyched to be doing this show that no one fucking watches. I love how I try to check my analytics and Apple iTunes Partner Connect, whatever the fuck it's called. And it's like, not enough data. It's like, that's not a good sign. Not enough data. And then, especially when it's like 1 month or 1 week, it's like, oh, I can see data. 5 devices. Okay, 5 unique devices. And one of those devices is definitely me. Another one of those devices is definitely my mom. And another one of those devices is probably my grandmother, who probably just puts it on and like presses play and then mutes her phone. She doesn't have to listen to it. So 60% of my listenership is immediate family. Sweet. And then to not have data for like months, which means I guess like that's less than 5 unique devices. So we're in a good spot. We're in a good spot with this show. I don't give up easily. I don't quit. It takes a lot for me to quit and give up easily. I mean, I thought that's who I was, but I'm finding out, no, it's not taking a whole lot to make me quit and give up. So, could be the last show ever. Who knows? I like how I keep dangling that in front of my audience. Could be the last show ever. Could be the last show. And Chris D'Elia did that for like the first year of his podcast. He was just like, you better support. I'm giving up. I'm just like, yeah, but it's Chris D'Elia, Neal. You're not Chris D'Elia. Got it. Valentine's Day, fucking sucked. I'm an honest, direct, frank person. Transparency. My wife and I had the baby daughter. We're exhausted at all times. And I got her like a wreath, heart-shaped wreath that has fake roses in the shape of a heart as a wreath. Whatever. I know she hates heart-shaped shit. I know most women hate heart-shaped shit. I gave her like a heart-shaped necklace, like the first Christmas we were together or something like that. Maybe first or second Christmas we were together, and she has never worn it. And she's told me women do not like heart-shaped shit. All right. Well, it's Valentine's Day. What do you want me to do? I mean, it's that's the main icon and symbol. Christmas, I understand. Don't give me heart-shaped shit, but like heart-shaped, kind of hard to avoid on Valentine's Day. And in return, so I gave her the heart-shaped wreath, and in return, she gave me a hard time. But that's what I do. I'm corny as fuck. It's inherent. It's intuitive. It's natural. It's innate. I cannot not be corny and fucking lame. That's just who I am. So I don't know. Deal with it. Sunglasses falling onto the face. That kind of meme, whatever the fuck that is. So yeah. So she works 20. She doesn't even sleep anymore. She just works 24/7. So I completely understand why she didn't give me a gift. And then she just left for San Francisco to visit her very prego friend who's delivering in March or April or something like that. And she deserves it to be out there. But I'm stuck with this baby daughter who is just in permanent freak out mode. So I'm not living my best life. I am not crushing or nailing or killing anything. I told my wife that like I'm like, it feels like I'm drowning and everyone's kind of just around like on the beach. They're like, I'm drowning in the ocean. They're just at the beach and they're all just like, yeah, sorry, dude. Like we can't find a life preserver. And then like the Coast Guard is partying in Daytona or something, or like I'm in the pool and everyone's just standing around the pool like, oh, we all just ate. So we can't dive in and save you. Sorry about the drowning. That's how it feels right now. So hence Lexapro, which I just don't want to take. But also Lexapro, I hate, and there's just gotta be a better way. And I think there's an app where you can speak to doctors now, which would be great for me. Because searching for answers online when it comes to mental health, anything like that, just not happening. Straight up. There's too much variance. There's too much like uncertainty and inconsistency with the answers. Lexapro, for instance, WebMD. You think WebMD, like you can't have MD in your fucking name of your website and not have the right fucking answers. Lexapro can cause a decrease in libido, severe decrease in libido where you don't want to have sex at all. Or you can end up with a painful erection for 4 hours straight. Oh, okay. Interesting. Why? Like, why can't it just be one or the other? It's got to be both. So stupid. Anyway. Yeah, that was Valentine's Day. I don't even know if we ordered food that night. I can't even remember if we were supposed to order like a nice dinner, and I don't even think we did. We ended up watching To All the Boys, P.S. Still I Love You, the sequel to All the Boys I Loved Before. Hour and 41 minutes. Romantic drama came out February 12th. The synopsis from IMDb: Lara Jean, and Peter have just taken the relationship from pretend to officially official when another recipient of one of her old love letters enters the picture. I think it was like John Henry Ambrose or some bullshit. There's already a third film titled To All the Boys, Always and Forever. Lara Jean in post-production. I don't even know why I fucking put this on there. I will say this, and people are like, what the fuck are you doing watching this this movie clearly out of your target demo? Very creepy and very weird that as a almost 40-year-old single white male, you're watching something produced by Awesomeness, a network legitimately their sole purpose is to produce entertainment for teenage girls, preteen, tween, teen girls. But like I said, I fucking love rom-coms, and this one didn't really disappoint. you had to wonder, like, how is there a sequel? The first one was pretty good on its own. Why even have a sequel? And you figure most sequels suck, and most rom-com, I don't know that many rom-coms get sequels, because it's just like boy meets girl, boy falls for girl, girl falls for boy. They have their issues, and then they finally get together at the end, and they kiss and happily ever after. So you don't very rarely would you ever see a rom-com get a sequel, because it's like it's just happily ever after. We don't need to see the happily ever after, because people don't like seeing other people be happy. Which, why? Just fucking. So I was very interested to see how they were going to take this. Was it like we opened and like Laura Jean and Peter have already broken up, and this is kind of like the post breakup? But no, we go in, and they're still going pretty strong. Laura Jean has got her doubts about, like, okay, I don't know how to be a girlfriend, and Peter's like, it's cool. Laura Jean's like, I'm a virgin, I don't know how to do the sex, and Peter's like, that's cool. And then this other dude comes back that, she had a love letter out to, and they kind of can reconnect, and then you have to deal with all that bullshit. So I've already lost the majority of my listeners and viewers on this, so fuck it, skip it. I'll probably try and cut this. Who gives a shit? So stupid. You want to talk about BoJack Horseman season 5? Sure, why not? Why the fuck not? Oh, before we get into that, what was it? Saturday. I mean, this is how out of sorts I am. Saturday, my wife had to go to a bridal shower or something, and I guess Hoboken, or near the city. So I was left watching the baby, and so she went. She come back, and I was supposed to. I mean, I said yes, and I probably shouldn't have said yes, because my buddy's surprise birthday party, 40th birthday party, was going down Saturday night in Red Bank, which is an hour drive away, no traffic. It's like, all right, I didn't really give the heads up to anyone. I said it was yes, I'm coming, but like all my friends are married with kids. The one who's not married with kids, or the two that are not married with kids, it's like the one has a roommate. It's like, I'm just going to go and sleep like on his couch. And it's like, ugh. The other one, I don't even know if he was going. And it's like, I don't know if I want to sleep. He's an only child, so he already has those kind of issues going through his brain. And his parents, I don't know if they exactly are in love with me. So, and everyone else is kids. It's like, I don't want to wake up 7 a.m. with a bunch of kids like poking me in the eyeball saying, who the fuck is you? So forget that noise. I could Uber and then Uber back, and that'll be a cool $200. You can fly to fucking New Orleans and Miami for less than that. So you know what? Didn't go. Didn't even tell them I wasn't going. Didn't even follow up like how was it. I was just like, I don't know. Another enemy. I made another enemy. Sweet. The never-ending list of enemies. People that fucking hate me. So that's good. So yeah, Monday we had off from work. Still had to do work because the work never stops. There's just too much on my plate. We're short-staffed, understaffed, you name it, and it's happening. Where I'm now doing like 3 jobs instead of 1. Sweet. Sunday, I don't even know what we did fucking Sunday. We just did a lot. We just watched a tremendous amount of TV, and it's like I can never get enough of the TV, which is bad. But I don't know what to tell you. I don't want to do anything except eat and watch TV. So fat and lazy I am. Yeah, I will say, like, and I've said this before, and it's like I'm a broken record, and I don't know that anyone gives a fuck anymore. But this like nonstop fucking trend of just like saying that straight white men are just fucking evil in TV and movies. Just like, and it happened in that To All the Boys, P.S. I Still Love You. And it's just fucking annoying as shit. It's just annoying. It's just like, is this like what movies and TV is now? And I guess you could, the other perspective, other side of the coin is like, all right, we're just going to flip the script. Years and years and years, the white person was always the hero and like looked up to, and it was all the other ethnicities and minorities that were kind of frowned upon or like cast as villains, and it's like viewed as the other, as the enemy. And it's like that now it's just come back, I guess, full circle, and I guess it's karma. I don't know, but it's just like if you are white, straight male, you are the fucking devil. It's just like, all right, cool. It's just, I don't know that it doesn't piss me off. It's just kind of like disappointing. It's like unnecessary. Like, aren't we moving to a better place as a society? Aren't we supposed to move to a better place where we're not pigeonholing or stereotyping or like, putting people in a box or in a category based on looks or whatever? I thought that was like the whole movement we got going on here, which I'm all for, except for the straight white man. You're just like, whatever, it is what it is. Just like, it kind of just, I don't know, just rubs me the wrong way. It feels hypocritical. It feels like, against, and I know I sound like a fucking like what alt-right, like nationalist, socialist, whatever fuck it is. But no, that's not, I'm not saying, I don't know. I wish I had more about To All the Boys, P.S. I Still Love You. I thought I did, and I didn't, so whatever. I didn't prep. I have a million other things to get to, like Love is Blind, the new Netflix reality series. I would put this on par with The Circle, where I heard the premise, I saw the premise, saw the trailer, and I was like, this is going to be the stupidest fucking show on earth. And then I got sucked into watching every goddamn episode. Singles who want to be loved for who they are rather than what they look like have signed up for a less conventional approach to modern dating, where it's, I think, 13 guys, 16 women, and they meet in these rooms that are, separated by a wall. A woman on one side, man on the other side, and there's a wall between them, and they just talk to each other. So they can't see each other, just talk to each other. And I guess after some people, it was after like 3 days or 5 days of dates, blind dates, they just up and say, oh yeah, I love this person, will you marry me? And it's just like, come the fuck on, dude. Like, is that really where we're at as a society, where we're so fucking desperate for love that we're talking through a wall? And if you're just able to have a conversation with the other person and connect, like, that means, yeah, sure, rest of my life, let's do it. It's been described as Married at First Sight meets The Bachelor. I've not seen Married at First Sight. I have seen The Bachelor. And that's a spot on description. Filming took place in Atlanta from September 2018 to November 2018, I guess. All the filming was completed in 38 days, and it's now coming out fucking a long time later. 12, 13, 14, 15 months after the fact. Can you imagine going on the show in the fall of 2018, and then you go through all these steps, and you probably have most likely you've gotten engaged, you almost try to get married, and someone probably ran away because it's like scary to even though it's like, all you have to do is like annul the fucking marriage. It's not a big deal. Or just get divorced. Who gives a shit? Marriage is not a serious thing anymore. It really isn't. So, but imagine like going on the show, getting engaged, possibly getting married, having the marriage annulled, or getting a divorce. And then like a year later, the show actually comes out and you're like, oh, fuck. I completely forgot I did that. Completely forgot I got engaged and married and divorced. But Yeah, so the first 10 days are in these what they call pods, which are just rooms. I don't know why they call fucking pods. And after the newly engaged couples left the pods, the filming took place at a really nice looking resort in Mexico where, I'd like to go to Mexico, but then I hear horror stories about how like people are, drink the wrong kind of liquor and then they drown in a hot tub, or the cartel shows up and just shoots up the joint. It's like, I'm fine just going to the local lake or pool. It's that, I can make my own margarita. Not a big deal. And then the couples go on a retreat. They actually meet all the other couples in person. So the women who are blind dating the men actually get to see the blind dating men for the first time. And so then it's like, okay, well, we didn't have that great of an emotional connection in the pods, but then we meet each other in person and it's like, oh, you're hot as fuck. Let's do this. And then I guess that's where we ended off. It's a 3-week event, quote unquote. It's hosted by Nick and Vanessa Lachey, who, I mean, I very curious to understand and know how much they're getting paid, because they literally show up for like maybe 2 minutes in episode 1. And then it's like maybe towards the last episode, they're like, hey, everybody. And they say like a sentence and then they're gone. And they probably get paid way more than anyone on the show. Good for them, I guess. What a sweet life that must be. Show up for like fucking an hour max and make more than most people make in a goddamn lifetime. So that's where we ended off. And I guess this week, which I must be today or tonight, is the second batch of episodes where they've now moved on from Mexico and they move in together into an apartment complex. And then after that, the third week, it's all about the weddings and for those who made it. I can't imagine the guys who didn't get engaged on the show. Because if you didn't get engaged in the first like week, they're like, all right, peace. And then they just completely like there were 6 dudes who didn't get engaged and are hardly ever shown. There's one guy, can you imagine being this guy, who is in probably the first episode where it's like the guys are all first meeting each other and they're drinking and hanging out and shooting the shit. And the guy's like, I'm a virgin. And everyone's like, record scratch, and they all stare at him like jaws drop. We never see that dude again. It's like, oh, like you're just the virgin guy that everyone's shocked about, and like we didn't even see you interact with anyone or have a blind date or anything. Like, ugh. And that guy probably had to take off fucking work and be there for who knows how long. Hopefully he just was able to take vacation days, because I've been there. I've said this before. I like applied to be on The Bachelorette in fall 2008, so it would have been spring 2009, and they ended up not picking me, but saying like, you've made it to the semifinals of being on the show. Can you fly out to LA and you'll be here? You could be here for a week, or you could be here for 2 months. What do you think? Can you do it? And I'm just like, all right, I guess I'll check with my boss, who is I mean, I think I'm allowed to say this, but maybe not, a flaming homosexual. I mean, he's a gay man, who, not flamboyant, jacked dude, big, huge jacked dude, very nice guy. If you were on his good side, like nice, if he liked you. In my case, he did not like me, which is understandable. No one fucking likes me. I get it. But I pitched it to him as like a marketing opportunity, because we worked in marketing. I was like, this is a huge marketing opportunity for Playboy to show that guys who are into Playboy, and even employees who work for Playboy, are not just all about the Hugh Hefner lifestyle where we're just fucking whatever that walks. So you actually want to settle down and get married. And I thought that was like a good pitch. That's like how I sold it to the network and how I sold it to internally to my boss. And he immediately shut it down in flames and was like, if you leave this job, like you're gone for good. We're not hiring you back. You're essentially quitting your job. And I was like, I did not say that. I said that I would be back and you could hire a temp, and then when I come back and blah, blah. And it was just like, no dice. And I was like, So I'm very curious to know how these people go about it, especially if you don't make it very far. It's like, or if you make it halfway through and like you're just forgotten. Like, what the fuck do you do then? They never tell you about that shit. Like, I'd love to do a then and now with all the reality show contestants that have to go on these shows that take fucking forever and end up getting embarrassed on national TV, don't make it to anywhere, any kind of level where they actually can win any money or like get any kind of benefit out of it, lose their job in the process. I just can't imagine. So obviously I didn't go on the show or go to the audition for the, or whatever for the show, because I was like, I actually need money and a job to pay for rent of my shoebox apartment. So I can't imagine what these dudes are thinking when they're like, they get like maybe 5 seconds of camera time, and yet they probably got fired or had to quit their jobs. 7 guys got engaged. 1 guy got engaged and didn't make the final cut of the show. They showed him talking and giving like really solid advice to every other dude on the show. And then we just don't see him in the pod talking to his date. We don't see him proposing. We don't see him get together in the big reveal where he gets to see his lady. We don't get to see him at all. And it's just like, what the actual fuck? I feel bad for that guy, because he thought, well, I'll propose because then at least I get extended and I can still be on the show and whatever and get screen time. Nope. 16 women were on the show. 9 didn't get engaged. And of course, the one that did get engaged, she didn't get any screen time either. She got less screen time than the dude who got engaged and was cut. We get to see that dude like give out like solid pointers left and right. I don't know. I just think I mean, I've always made the point, like I have friends that most of my friends think that you can't have a relationship after a one night stand. Like you can't meet a person and have a one night stand, that day or night, and then have a relationship after that. It's just, they just don't believe it. And I was like, well, what if you're like day drinking or you just with that person all damn day long, and then you have the one night stand at the end of the night, make a real connection? I don't know. It's possible. I wouldn't rule it out, but a lot of people are like, oh, slept with you the first day? Nope. How many other people are they doing that with? Well, maybe they've had one night stands where it's like you meet the person at the bar and you're like, yeah, you're fuckable. Let's do this. But the odds of them actually having a long ass day with someone and connecting with someone and having one night stand, and then that's that, and not trying to at least get a second date out of it, you must have sucked at sex on the one night stand, which for sure happened to me a bunch of times. So I gotta say, like, the most frustrating part of the show is who's the couple, Mark and Jessica or whatever. It's like the kind of shortish 24-year-old black-haired dude who's like a fitness trainer or whatever, and then she is like a 34-year-old blonde, and so they're always talking about the age difference, like, oh my god, 10 years difference, blah blah blah. And it's like, I guess I can see it, but like it hasn't really the age difference hasn't really come through. If anything, this 24-year-old dude is like more mature than like all the other guys, and they're all older than him. So the only one thing I will say though is like, holy shit, I mean, getting friend zoned from here to infinity. As soon as they saw each other, they did a grand reveal, and it was just like, you could tell like, oh, she's not into him. And I thought that for the first like couple episodes where they don't see each other and just going based off their voices, I was like, well, I can see her and I can see him, and she is going to be disappointed in him. And repeatedly, often, more times than not, my wife would be like, what are you talking about? Like, he's hot, he's attractive. And I was just like, I thought I knew what handsome was, and I was dead wrong. So How about that one? But the Jessica and Mark thing was so frustrating because it's like she wanted this other guy who was like said he was going to propose to her, but then he was on the fence, and then he was like, I don't know, and she was like, well, fuck you, and then eventually like defaults, I guess. Last resort is her fallback. Safety school is Mark, this 24-year-old who's on the smaller side, and they meet and like they don't even kiss. Every time he goes to kiss her, she turns her face. There's like little to no physical chemistry at all, and it was just brutal to watch. And he was adamant. He was like, I know we have a connection. We've made a connection, and I'm gonna see this through. I'm gonna stick it out and be persistent and whatnot. And I was just like, I don't know, dude. You got to learn when to say when. I mean, everyone else is fucking boning, and if they're not boning, they're constantly making out. You guys don't even kiss. Like, this is bad news bears. On top of that, her voice is brutal. Her voice stinks, and I don't know. I'm sorry. I know I'm not supposed to criticize your voice because there's little that you can do to control that. I guess you could possibly get like vocal cord surgery or something to alter it. But like, my voice is not anything to write home about. Like, I understand I don't have an award-winning voice. I'm no Will Arnett, but I don't know what I would do if I had that kind of voice. I don't know. I couldn't. It was hard to tolerate while I was watching it, and it was just like, so on top of you getting friend zoned, this woman, you have to listen to this woman like constantly say that she's not there yet, not there yet. And honestly, it makes sense. Why would you be there? Yeah, you had an emotional connection with someone through a fucking wall, but now it's like you're engaged and you're supposed to be fucking this person. So I can see it from her point of view. It was just really hard to watch. And I'm like, this has got to be it. I mean, it's got to be it. She took off the ring, and she's like, I probably can't do this. And then you watch the trailer or the promo for the next like couple episodes, and it's like, oh, they're living together. And it's like, oh my god, just this has to end. The other couple, Damian Powers, great name, and Gigi, whatever her name is, she's like Dominican or something like that, and immigrated to this migrated to this country, immigrant, I don't fucking know. You know what I mean? Hadn't had sex in 400 plus days. I was like, whoa, dude. And you are a good looking broad. What kind of element are you hanging out with that you can't take a chance on someone run one random weekend? And so she just went ape on this Damian Powers dude. She's just like, I'm sick of this sensitive bullshit. Like, take me now. But like, he seems like a wet blanket. The very attractive, what is her name? Shit. The one who's like kind of worried about having an interracial relationship. Of course. Where's the cast? Cast. No? Cast? Yeah? Come on. Cast. All right, Cameron and Lauren. So, like, Cameron and Damien seem like they're the same dude. Like, Cameron, big, strongish, goofy doofus looking white dude. Damien, big, goofy, strong doofus. And like the women that they're with are so bubbly and energetic and full of personality and have humor and joke around. And then the big doofus white guys are just like so serious all the time and sensitive. And like, I don't know, it really is like the yin and the yang, I guess. I guess opposites do attract, but holy shit. And like, Lauren is super hot and Gigi super hot. But like, I'm just very curious to see the Meet the Parents episode. I'm interested in the most. Was this Kelly and what's his name? Kevin? Something like that? I don't know. I just... Ugh. They show like snippets of people just running away in their bridal gowns and like dudes in their tux like sweating bullets. It's such a ridiculous show. And of course, no one's going to actually get married. And if they do, they're going to get the D pretty hard. So, but can't stop watching. It is interesting though. You kind of like see people connect and it's like, wow, this seems too good to be true. And then it's like, as soon as you think that, something like you get the wrench thrown into the whole system. Like Damien and Gigi are just hanging out on a fucking boat. And Damien's like, it's so nice to be able to relax and unwind and be away from the stress and the drama. And then Gigi's like, I guess her name's Gigi. I don't know. It's just like, what drama? And he's like, just work, life. She's like, no, what drama? I need to know what drama. And it's just like, come on. This fucking drama that you're bringing on me, on my head. Yeah. We also watched Tom Papa. He has a new comedy special on Netflix called You're Doing Great. A thumbs up for me. I highly recommend it. Basically, the gist of it was just like, you know what? You're doing great. Are you still alive? Awesome. You're doing great. And it was like, it's kind of sad that I watch a comedy special and feel better about myself. But I did. I was just like, thanks, Tom Papa. I am doing great, even though I'm not. But I did in the moment feel like, yeah, all right, I am alive. And it's okay to not work out and to eat shitty food and to do what I like and to do what makes me happy, even if it is for a brief fleeting moment. The big takeaway from this is that I just TIL today. I learned that he is Bob Papa's brother. So if you're a Giants fan, Bob Papa should ring a damn bell. He's done some work on the NFL Network, but Bob Papa is one half of the broadcasting duo for WFAN Giants Radio. Broadcasts all the Giants games for a long ass time now. I want to say 20 years at least. He's his booth mate is Carl Banks, former Giants linebacker. But Bob, you kind of like you look at the pictures and you're like, yeah, I guess I can kind of see that they're related. But like personality wise, Tom Papa is very like, I don't know, expressive, emotive, even though it has a certain like cadence to it. And he's not like that eccentric. He definitely has a lot more. It's a little more like relaxed kind of casual tone. Whereas Bob Papa is very like, hello and welcome. It's a very like sports broadcaster type voice. So I can only imagine what it's like when they get together for Thanksgiving. I would love to be a fucking fly on the wall for that. Tom Papa and Bob Papa, Papa Bros. I mean, they must have had discussed like just having a show together or a podcast together. I mean, it seems like it's just like rife with opportunity. But I just would love to see a video series of the two of them getting together and talking shop. Because I imagine that Bob Papa, he doesn't make a ton of. I don't think he's ever made a joke. Maybe he's made one joke. I mean, he'll definitely say some funny things, but like, I'd like to see the tables turned. I'd like to see Bob Papa do a stand-up special and Tom Papa do a Giants game. I think that would be pretty funny. Yeah, like I said, I binged because my wife doesn't like animated adult animation. So like South Park, Family Guy, Simpsons, anything like that. She has no patience for it. All right, fine. I love it. So there you go. So I ended up binging BoJack Horseman. Season 5 debuted September 2018. And I started season 6. Season 5 was interesting. It was, I don't know. It got extremely high ratings. It's won awards. And I just, I don't know if it hit too close to home or if it's just like, I can't believe this is supposed to be technically a comedy when there's so much serious dramatic shit going on. I would say it's the most depressing comedy, animated comedy of all time. I think that's fair enough. Rami Malek from Mr. Robot and Bobby Cannavale, also Mr. Robot, were introduced to the cast in season 5. Started off with episode 1, the light bulb scene, where BoJack got landed the main role on a new web series called Filbert for a streaming service called What Time Is It Right Now.com or something. And of course, the series life imitates art, or vice versa, art imitates life, and a lot of what's going on in the web series is kind of what's also going on with BoJack. Mr. Peanut gets together with a waitress after he's divorced Diane. Diane goes on a journey to self-discovery in Vietnam. Yeah, I mean, like, that was episode 2. Not a huge fan of Diane. I know, surprise, surprise. I just don't. She just gets on my fucking nerves, dude. I just can't. And I know, like, whatever, dude. I can't. It's just constant, nonstop social justice warrioring, SJWing, whatever you want to call it. It just gets, it just wears on you. It's just like, dude, can you just fucking relax and enjoy yourself for once? Also the fact that, like, we're in a weird time where Altered Carbon is supposed to be coming back. I saw that. So that was the big show that I watched, where Altered Carbon was getting shit because you could basically save a person's consciousness onto like a chip or something, and then insert that chip into a someone else's body, like a sleeve. They called it a sleeve. And so you could have like an old Hispanic, Latina grandmother, her consciousness in the body, the mind of a like neo-Nazi with like swastikas all over his body and whatnot. And it's like, and that it causes discomfort because it's like, I'm looking at a neo-Nazi, but it's really a Hispanic grandmother. And so that gets backlash. You get backlash from having ScarJo in like Ghost in the Shell. Totally understand. You get Matt Damon backlash because he was in The Great Wall, which was about the Great Wall of China. And it seems like, why is a white man in traditional Chinese like soldier uniform, like, you know, that I can see why that. I totally understand why that gets backlash. And with BoJack Horseman, it's like they're trying to break down those walls and barriers and make you kind of, you know, it's outside the box a little bit, because you have like, this person is a buffalo and this person is a snake and this person is a bird and this, you know, it's like all these different animals. But then you have Diane Nguyen, who's Vietnamese, voiced by Alison Brie, not Vietnamese, white chick, spouting about all this social justice bullshit. It just, there's like a disconnect there. It's like, I know you're Alison Brie and you're voicing a Vietnamese woman. What is happening? Talking about straight white men are the devil. Got it. I have a real complex about that. Have there been a lot of straight white men that are evil? For sure. Is the percentage, like, I just would love to have the numbers. I'd like to see the numbers. Just like the proportion of straight white men that are actually evil versus the whole populace versus other races and ethnicities. It's tough. It's tough. It's kind of like, you know, it's almost, I don't know if it's not exact corollary, but like, if you were a German If you're a German, even now, if you're German descendant, or if you just live in Germany and like you're like fucking 20, you just get like the Nazi shit thrown at you and thrown on you and tagged with the Nazi shit. Even if your ancestors weren't a part of that, whatever. I just cannot believe Nazis still exist, dude. I was like trying to think of a tweet in my head as I was driving to pick up my daughter. Like, American in 1945 or 44. We beat the Nazis! Exclamation point. American in 2020. I don't think we're going to beat the Nazis. ... I cannot believe it. I mean, we have a fucking show from Jordan Peele coming out about Nazi hunters. I just cannot believe that Nazis still exist. It's just fucking it's so depressing. Yeah, so I don't know. Diane Nguyen. I mean, the series skewers just about everything and everyone. So I think I appreciate how it kind of holds almost everyone accountable, but it's also a little depressing because it's like, shit, that's just life, huh? They tell it like it is. They tell the truth when it comes to everything and anything, like how people don't read articles anymore. They just read the headline, which I am definitely for sure guilty of 100%. So, I mean, I can't criticize it, but it's just like, it hurts. The truth hurts. Episode 3, planned obsolescence. Great word. Don't know what it means. Mr. Peanut Butter takes pickles to see the International Space Station explode. Gina confesses her love of musical theater to BoJack. Todd meets Yolanda's parents. Yolanda the asexual. Asexuals, man. What a life that must be. I still think, though, like, we're all kind of, unless I'm completely off on this, we're biologically wired to still, like, I don't understand how you can have, maybe women could do it, cis-sexist, but like men, if I go, and I've done this a lot since being married, where it's just like, I'm just too tired to engage in any kind of sexual activity, either self or with partner. And you just kind of like, you go a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and eventually your body has to unload. I guess that's the most PG, but also most graphic way to describe what happens, because it's like you're producing this stuff and it has to go somewhere. You can't just keep building. So you have a natural trigger. So I'm wondering, like, that's got to happen with asexual dudes, right? Like, if you're asexual and you're a dude, hit me up on the hotline 862-BIT-1986, 862-BIT-1986, and let me know. Like, if you're an asexual dude, okay, so you don't have sex, you don't JO, are you still sploding between the sheets at night in your dreams? Has to happen. Otherwise, don't you get like severe cramps, aches, something? You get backed up, you get like prostate, swollen prostate, something bad's got to happen. Anyway, must be tough to be asexual, though. Not too many other asexuals out there, and it's like, and that was the point of that whole storyline with Todd and Yolanda, was like, you're asexual, I'm asexual, I guess we should get together because there aren't many of us around, and we have that in common, so at least we don't have to worry about the whole sexual aspect of the relationship, but you still got to jive with the other person. Episode 4, BoJack the Feminist. So apparently they try to hire this actor who I guess is like a mix of Mel Gibson plus, I mean, every other dirtbag in Hollywood actor or producer in the business who has done a bunch of foul shit and tried to get and got away with it. And so BoJack ends up, I guess, speaking out about it. But it is funny how it's a commentary on, like, people who just state the obvious are now, like, held in high praise. And this happens on like I think Part of My Take pokes fun at that as well, where they're like, we are going on the record as the first anti-Nazi podcast, because like no one else has said it, but it's like obvious, like who is pro-Nazi? Like, does that mean every other podcast is pro-Nazi because they haven't come out as anti-Nazi? And even Fights, like too, from KFC Radio and Barstool, like he'll say, you know, when Kobe passed, he was just like, I didn't feel the need to express, like, I felt like I just didn't feel the need to tweet how sad I was. I was just sad. Like, I didn't feel like I had to tweet that I was sad. Like, it's a sad moment. Like, I don't, and it's like, if you didn't tweet it, it didn't happen, which thankfully my Twitter, like, I'm fucking not popular on Twitter at all or anywhere else. So it's like, no matter what I tweet, you know, there's just no reaction whatsoever. So like, I don't have to depend on that for my livelihood. But it is unbelievable that you are then counted upon or expected to react to have a take or comment on every major event. And he's like, I just didn't feel like I had to say that I was sad about Kobe's passing. And if I didn't, then people were taking me to task and saying like, oh, you're not sad about it. And it's just like, no, I just didn't feel like fucking tweeting about it. And the people who do tweet about it, like, that's what it gets me, is like the tweet where it's like, I'm very saddened by the passing of Kobe Bryant. Yeah, we all are. And that'll get like 300 fucking million likes and retweets and whatever. Goddamn social media, man. Something I will never get and I'll never be good at. And the amount of times that I come close to deleting the social media apps that I have, and I just can't pull the trigger because I'm like, well, maybe one day I'll have that one thing that goes viral for an hour and then dip right back into obscurity. But anyway, BoJack goes on this like show that is kind of like, what is that fucking show called? The women. I don't know. The four women. Whoopi Goldberg's on it. Joe Behar, Hasselbeck, McCain, all those bitches. Oh, damn bitches. The Chat, the Chow, whatever it's called. Anyway, it's a show like that, and they're like, and he's like, and he just says, men should not rape women. And they're all just like, yes. And they go nuts and cheer. And it's just like, duh, dude. How is that? How is anyone thinking to the contrary? But he gets like, all of a sudden he's like the top male feminist in Hollywood. And of course it goes to his brain and he gets a big ego over it. But it's just like, it's true. It's just insane that people are just saying the obvious that we all know and think, but like always like it's like, so I guess you're brave for coming out and saying it, but it's like so like common sense, duh. Princess Caroline tries to adopt a baby. So this is the one, episode 5, Amelia Earhart's story. She goes back to her hometown, which I guess she's from the South, which I didn't really know, and tries to like persuade a pregnant woman to adopt her baby. Remembers growing up in that environment where, you know, she, I guess when she was younger, had sex with like a kid from high school and like got pregnant, but then lost the baby. And her mom got down on her because it was like, that's your ticket out of here. And like, that's just how that is, that culture, that community is down there. Not for everyone, but for a good portion. Episode 6 was Free Churro. And this is the one that really stood out. It's tied for the highest IMDb rating of all the episodes. So I guess there's like 60 plus episodes, and Free Churro episode 6 in season 5 is tied for like the highest rating. And and again, you know, this goes back to me just not being able to recognize something that's great, not identifying with it, not relating to it, and thinking it's worse than it actually is. And I'll tell you how that ties into one of the movies I'm going to review later, The Host. BoJack gives a eulogy for his mother at a funeral, and the episode was nominated for a Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Animated Program at the 71st Primetime Creative Arts Emmys. And this is one of those bottle episodes that I've mentioned in the past where it's kind of like one location, one setting. They did it in Breaking Bad, and they've done it in a bunch of other episodes, shows and whatnot. It's just common to have at least one of those in a season. And there's always that moment where you begin to realize that that's the case, and you're like, okay, do I really want to stay tuned for another 20 minutes knowing that this is it? This is it. This is the show. There's no cutting away here. There's no checking in on this character. There's no storyline B, C, whatever. No subplots. This is it. You're looking at it. We're not even leaving this room. It's this character in this room talking the entire time. Are you in? Are you out? And I always have that kind of inner dialogue, the inner conflict when that happens, where it's like, I don't know if I can do this. And then I end up watching the whole thing, and I'm just like, all right, I guess I'm glad I did it. Pretty powerful, potent stuff. But there's that point where you're like, before you find out and discover that that's the case, you're like kind of leaning in, like, aren't they supposed to cut away? This is usually when they cut to something else. He just made the joke, and now they're going to cut, and then they don't. And you're just like, oh boy. All right, let's settle in. The whole like talking to the coffin thing, I find that to be so fucking lame. I don't know. I'll probably get crucified for that. I'll get cruised. But like, what do you think, Mom? Mom, Mom. I don't know. I guess because I didn't have like I'm spoiled. I didn't have a shitty relationship with my mother. My dad passed. We had our differences and our issues at times, and he did some shit I'm not very proud of or happy about. But I'm not gonna sit there and talk to his fucking coffin. I don't know. I mean, I did end up at a wedding talking to the sky, thinking that he was up there. Done that once, maybe twice. So, again, hypocritical. What do you want? What do you want from me? 7th episode. Also, like the fact that, you could see that fucking punchline coming from a mile away. The fact that they're only showing him, they're not cutting to the audience. And the whole time I'm just thinking, okay, something is obviously going on with the audience. They're not showing the audience. It's going to be a reveal. The reveal is going to be what? And it's like, oh, it's a bunch of lizards. It's not his mom's funeral. Boom. Punchline. And it's like, I get a little chuckle out of it, but it's like, yeah, I can see through your shit, your shtick, your tricks. Episode 7, Interior Sub. This was a little bit of a wacky episode. You have the therapist and a corporate mediator who are apparently dating, and they talk about their clients, but they have to refer their clients with like code names and shit. So, that one is a little bit like, I don't know if I can, not the best. I appreciate though for them to take a chance and try something different, but it was just like, I mean, all right, we're doing mediation over fucking string cheese. Get the fuck out of here. Episode 8, Mr. Peanut Butter's Booze. Mr. Peanut Butter goes with his new girlfriend Pickles to the 25th annual Halloween party in 2018 at BoJack's house, while remembering 3 disappointing Halloween parties in years past with his now ex-wives: 93 with Katrina, 2004 with Jessica Biel, and 2009 with Diane. I like this episode. One, because it didn't have to deal with so many fucking hot button social issues and topics. It's episodes like this that make me like BoJack Horseman. It's not the ones where BoJack is a male feminist and Diane's like, whatever Diane's fucking doing. Trying to take down the man. Like, that's just not appealing to me for this show. Just because, it's like I tune into comedy a lot of times to get away from that kind of shit. That's just like, in your face 24/7 online. And understandably, like, good comedy can use that as fodder and use that as fuel to deliver the chucks and deliver the guffaws. But like, I'd rather just have stuff like this. Of course, I'm a big time travel guy, and even the script I'm writing, movie script I'm writing, which I haven't actually worked on in fucking months, plays with time as well. So there's different time periods. It's not just focusing on a weekend. It's focusing in on this time period, moving to this time period, moving into the next time period. But it was a very interesting like look at, okay, you have Mr. Peanut Butter's perspective of like why things went wrong with the women of his past and kind of putting it on the women. But then you flip it and you see at the end like, oh, well, if you're having a problem with all these people, what's the common denominator? You're the common thread. Maybe you're the problem. Which I fully know that I'm the problem. Throughout my professional career, I realize that I'm the problem. You know, I've played the victim plenty of times. It's getting old, and it's, you just eventually have to realize like, okay, I'm the problem, but now like, how do I go about fixing it? That's the tough part. Episode 9, Ancient History. Also, I love the fact that like Mr. Peanut Butter keeps bringing his Halloween party to BoJack's house. And BoJack is always resistant and reluctant at first and is like, no, thank you, no way. And by the end of it, he's like drunk or high or just having a ton of fun and is like, we should do this next year. I love the dynamic between Mr. Peanut Butter and BoJack Horseman. It's one of the better parts of the show. It's just super relatable too. I think we all have that friend where you're just like, you again, and then you end up having a great time with that person and you forget why you don't like hanging out with them in the first place. Episode 9, Ancient History. After visiting Hollyhock, his, I guess, half-sister or something like that, dumps his painkillers into the sink. BoJack goes on a search for more, and we see him like kind of hit rock bottom trying to find these pills. Episode 10, Head in the Clouds. Filbert premieres to critical acclaim. Diane confronts BoJack about, I guess, the voicemail, or I don't know if it was a voicemail or just an audio message she came across about, and that was fucking weird too, where I forgot about how BoJack was in New Mexico or something like that, and he hooked up with an old friend, or he connected with an old girlfriend or a friend who was a woman, who is now married and had a daughter. The daughter's 17, and he was like on the boat parked in the driveway, and the 17-year-old daughter was there and like came on to him, and he said he thought about it and eventually said no, but the fact that he hesitated and thought about it like makes him a creeper. Which, yeah, I mean, he's fucking, I guess in this season they revealed that he's like 54 years old. So yeah, 54 and 17, that's like insane. And they've really made BoJack out to be I can't even say an anti-hero at this point. He's just a fucking like I guess he's the protagonist, he's the main character, but at the same time it's like not a likable dude. But then again, he's done like it's basically putting a mirror up to a lot of men. I mean, most men have had some fucked up shit going on in their life that they like to forget about, or they just try and move on from, or they black out, whatever, and they don't want to think about it or be accountable for it. I mean, I personally have done some really foul stuff, but not to the extent that BoJack has. I'm not saying I have a clean slate and that I'm flawless, but like, it's just tough to keep watching this and like, am I still rooting for this guy? You know, I can see how one can abuse painkillers. I abused painkillers the other week. I mean, I didn't continue to, but it was a one night type of thing. But it's like, I could see myself getting into that. And so it's just hard to criticize, I guess, someone who's been through it, and when you don't know what they're going through. But at the same time, dude, ugh. So, BoJack is like, when Diane confronts BoJack about what she heard, saying that he had thought about hooking up with a 17-year-old daughter but didn't, and then he kind of he goes on the defensive, and he's just like, I guess he's almost saying like, I'm sick of being sorry. There's so many things that I'm sorry for, like I can't keep apologizing. Or he like was deflecting, and which I've been in that headspace where it's just like, fucking A, dude. Keep apologizing, and there's so much bad stuff that I do, and I'm living with it day to day, and it's like I'm already punishing myself, and now I got to punish myself externally for you, for your own like sake. GTFO, bro. That was douchey, but I don't, whatever. I'm a douche. Henry Fondle, the sex robot that Todd built. At least that brought some laughs, because it's like he's just spouting out all these like very is spouting out dirty talk, and yet him like Todd fails upwards. He's watching the baby, Carolyn's baby, that she ends up adopting, and he just keeps, and the baby's name is Untitled Carolyn, Princess Carolyn Project, and so he keeps saying that to people around town, and then buzz builds, and all of a sudden he's like the head of ad sales for whattimeisightRightnow.com or whatever it is, all because he kept talking about this untitled project that people want to know more about, and he keeps saying things that are related to the baby, like, yeah, I think she's got legs. So I thought that was interesting, the misunderstanding, and how there are people that fail upwards, and I am super jealous of those people. The ability to constantly keep fucking up, and like somehow they just keep going up and up, like literally fucking up. And then Henry Fondle is another example of just like people hearing what they want to believe or whatever. Like he's saying dirty talk, but people are interpreting as like, oh, this is very strong corporate speak. And so he ends up ascending and actually going above Todd and on the corporate ladder. But then all of a sudden it takes like one wrong phrase or line from him that eventually a woman catches on to, and then you got the whole Me Too thing coming down on a sex robot. Henry Fondle, so good. Episode 11, The Showstopper. While working on the new season of his new show, Filbert, BoJack's drug use starts to spiral out of control. And then episode 12, The Stop Show. BoJack experiences a fallout of his drug-fueled actions, leaving Princess Carolyn to clean things up while she deals with the crisis of her own. Diane and Mr. Peanut Butter struggle to deal with their feelings and their future. Yeah, so like, and this been mentioned like in IMDb trivia that the penultimate episode every season is always the darkest and most depressing, and that is for sure in episode 11, The Showstopper. I mean, he ends up choking his co-star Gina, who, they start off as just fuck buddies, and she's just like, I'm a nobody. I just go from show to show, and I'm never realized or recognized or noticed. And BoJack actually goes out on a limb for her and starts propping her up so that she gets more attention and more accolades, and she ends up getting the spotlight. She gets recognition and praise for her role in the show. And so I guess a little bit of BoJack is jealous, even though he said he wasn't. And in his drug-induced haze, which I didn't realize that painkillers could do that to you. I mean, I guess I did, but not to that extent where you just like hallucinating, delusions, thinking you're in a dream state. Like the lines blurred between, fiction on the show and then reality of his real situation, where he's trying to like, he's hard up for the painkillers and the pills, and also being on the show and getting that kind of paranoia going on. I don't know. I've been on painkillers. I don't think that's happened, but I have not. I haven't done it to the extent that he did. But like to choke to really choke an actress and just have everybody standing around watching while you're legitimately choking your co-star. And, you leave bruises, and she's like, her eyes are bloodshot. It was just it hit hard. And I just don't remember any other animated comedy where that happens. It's the most hardcore shit I've ever seen. And it's like, where does the show go from here? Of course, he ends up going to rehab, but he was supposed to go on like an apology tour where this reporter's going to softball questions to him. And he was like, I need to come forward and say that I fucked up and I need to be arrested or punished or whatever. And his co-star is like, no, don't do this to me, because then I'll be remembered as the victim and no one will take me seriously as an actress. And I was just like, oh my God, life is complicated. But yeah, I thought about stopping the show after that. I was like, what is the show? How did the show become this? But it's what the people like most about it, I guess, is that it tackles some really tough issues, difficult issues. But I don't know. That's just not I guess it's not what I originally tuned in for. And I appreciate like the introspection and the reflection to a degree, but it's also like, I don't know how much longer. It's tough. I don't know. It's tough to binge, which is, how it's supposed to be consumed. But like, damn, man, it's fucking tough. Fucking tough. Yeah, so that's BoJack season 5. Man. And then of course he goes to rehab. Will Arnett said this is the toughest. This is like the toughest role he's ever had to do, because a lot of what happens to BoJack, talk about life imitating art and imitating life imitating art. It reflects a lot of what he went through. And I listened to he has an interview with Dax Shepard on Armchair Expert, where he really gets into, well, his friendship with Dax Shepard, which I appreciated. But then he also talks about like AA and going sober and stuff like that. And it's just like, is that really what is in store for everyone or for me? I just don't, and I'm not looking forward to that day. Even though it'll probably be a healthier, cleaner lifestyle and probably be better off for it. It's just like, I don't know. It just seems like so, ugh. But you see a lot of these people who are successful say, yeah, I used to party and drink and drug and blah, blah, and been sober for years now. And it's just like, they seem so happy. And it's just like, I don't know. I like it. I like the booze and the pills, not the pills, not the pills. Yeah. So I started season 6, and I don't know. I'm not in it for BoJack having those really solemn, like monologues and soliloquies. Like, I'm just not into the show for that. Like, I enjoy Mr. Peanut Butter. He's just a lighthearted, happy-go-lucky guy who keeps getting himself into these situations. And it's like, BoJack is not a favorite character of mine at all. Not even close. I mean, there are times where he'll rip off some dialogue, and you're like, all right, cool. But then the whole, like, when he goes into the fucking down in the dumps, like, it's just like that. I know people, like, that's why a lot of people love the show. It's just not for me. It's not why I tune in. I tune in for Todd, his wacky antics, for Mr. Peanut Butter, stuff like that. So, I'll continue watching season 6, but I'm sure people not pleased with how I feel about that shit. Um, I guess we can talk about movies for a little bit. Why not? I caught After Earth while I was watching. I guess while I was watching The Baby, maybe. This came out May 31st, 2013, starring Will Smith, directed by M. Night Shyamalan. And it's like, how did we misfire? How did we miss the target on this movie? It just had everything that I love about life. Will Smith, one of my favorite actors. M. Night Shyamalan, one of my favorite directors. Sci-fi, thriller, set in the future, post-apocalyptic. It's like A plus B equals C. Like, this is a recipe for success. It's a formula for gold, Jerry. And it just completely did not work at all. A crash landing leaves Kitai Rage and his father, Cypher, stranded on Earth a millennium after events forced humanity's escape. With Cypher injured, Kitai must embark on a perilous journey to signal for help. Critics' consensus from Rotten Tomatoes: After Earth is a dull, ploddingly paced exercise in sentimental sci-fi and the latest setback for director M. Night Shyamalan's once promising career. I like how they said that in 2013. They were writing off M. Night Shyamalan as if he wasn't going to come back with motherfucking Split and Glass and all that shit. He had a bunch of other. The Visitor, I think, was another one. He's had a bunch of good movies since then. So, and I guess you could say this was the impetus for him, for his renaissance and his coming back to prominence. This, I guess, was a low point for him. And I believe it was this movie that caused him to say, I'm going to do my own shit. I'm going to write and direct my own shit because I know my voice and I'm going to stand behind what I believe in. I'm not going to allow myself to be sold on someone else's vision, which I guess is what happened here. Ironically enough, the movie was supposed to be about a father and a son on a camping trip. And it's like their car that they're traveling in careens off the road, and the son has to make his way through the forest to find help for the father. Which I almost think they should just make that movie now with maybe not Will Smith and his kid, but almost make that movie now as it is, as opposed to trying to turn this into something bigger than it is. 11% of critics gave this a favorable review on Rotten Tomatoes, giving it an average rating of 3.82 out of 10. Yowzer. Excuse me. 36% of the audience gave it a favorable review with almost 122,000 ratings, giving it an average rating of 2.8 out of 5. Wow. Yeah, it's pretty bad. Although it's almost close to getting a favorable review on average. You just need a 3 out of 5. And I got a 2.8. Pulled in around 60.5 million domestically and 183 internationally to get a total of almost 244 million. And had a budget of 130, so it made it back and then some. It opened at number 3 at the box office and left the top 10 before the end of June. In 2014, it won a rare 3 Raspberry Awards, Razzies. 1 for Worst Actor, Jaden Smith. 1 for Worst Supporting Actor, Will Smith. And 1 for Worst Acting Combo, Will and Jaden Smith. Yeah, I mean, I don't think Jaden Smith had many starring roles after this. And Will Smith was not Will Smith in this movie. I mean, I understand you don't want to kind of do the same old Will Smith role that you do almost every movie, but there's a reason why most of your shit is popular and popping. It's because you're Will Smith, and we want to tap into your charisma and your charm and your likability. And in this one, it was just stone-faced, placid. I mean, the whole point of it was that this Cypher guy, Will Smith's character, is this elite soldier who is able to defeat this race of species of monster that can smell fear. It can smell pheromones coming off humans that are, I guess, excreted or secreted when you're scared. And so Will Smith genetically or for whatever reason doesn't have that. And so he's essentially, they call him a ghost to these monsters. The monsters don't see him or feel his presence, and he can just, casually stroll about town whacking these monsters. But I also assume likewise, does that mean you don't have a personality? I don't know. The personality he had was so not Will Smith. It was like stone-faced, somber, serious all the time, not like kind of worrisome expression, but not really, not prone to anger, just very level, blah, just blah. That's not what people want from Will Smith. I understand you want to kind of broaden your acting chops and kind of try and tackle something different, but not in a fucking sci-fi action movie, dude. So, Will Smith envisioned After Earth as a multi-platform franchise, including books, graphic novels, and interactive video games, which would all inform on and add to the ideas and concepts already developed in the finished film. Apparently, he had a couple dudes write a quote-unquote Bible that was like 300 pages long that provided a lot of, I guess, fleshed out a lot of the universe and the characters and the storylines. I guess, for one, to help with the actors and the cast and the crew involved with the movie, but also for these video games that were supposed to happen, these books, these novels, I mean, what a fucking misfire from A to Z, start to finish, just misfire. How could you have made it better? Great question. I honestly don't have the immediate answer. One is have Will Smith be Will Smith. It's insane to me to have Will Smith in an action movie and he's just incapacitated the whole time. I think that really bummed a lot of people out. And then you get to see Jaden Smith. No offense, Jaden, but like you see his kid kind of like, I don't know, luck his way through everything. So yeah. And I was expecting some kind of, it's M. Night Shyamalan, and I know he didn't really write it. And he honestly, the only directing, they even said this in IMDb, the only directing he really did was like the technical aspects of directing. He didn't, Will Smith was essentially the director on set, directing Jaden, and, because the bulk of the film is just Jaden and him. So it's just him directing his son. I just feel like, maybe to let M. Night Shyamalan take the wheel. Jesus, take the wheel. Let M. Night take the wheel for a little bit. But if you didn't have this movie, you wouldn't have had all the good movies that Shyamalan put out after. So, praise be After Earth. Let's talk about Aliens vs. Predator Requiem. I watched this while so I went to see the psychiatrist on Monday, my day off. And Saturday, I did not go to my buddy's surprise birthday party, which I still feel shitty about. But I was just like, I'm just going to show up there and be an absolute, like, fucking bump on a log. Like, I'm going to be the worst kind of person at this party. Cannot be in that kind of environment when I'm this, like, this devastated. And then Sunday, it was like my mother-in-law and I guess father-in-law. I have two father-in-laws. My two dad-in-laws. They came up with my sister-in-law, and the ladies took our baby daughter to Chuck E. Cheese, and me and the second father-in-law hung out and talked about all the great things that families talk about. But I decided to put on Aliens vs. Predator Requiem. I wanted to put on Rambo First Blood because I have not I'm ashamed to say I've not watched that movie from start to finish. I have seen little snippets, and it's always like I'll stumble upon it. It's like, Neal, we gotta go. Like, we're late for this, and it's like, oh, fuck. And that's before DVR, and you don't even have time to set the DVR. Well, now it's in my DVR. I got it, so I'm looking forward to watching that from start to finish, which is so odd because I've seen so many other movies from start to finish that are like spoofs of that movie, or have spoofed. I've seen so many fucking movies or TV shows that have spoofed or paid homage to Rambo First Blood, and I understand what they're paying tribute to. And I still have not seen the original source material, and it's still effective. But anyway, Aliens versus Predator Requiem was available. What's weird is I don't even know if I've seen Aliens versus Predator, the one that came out in 2004. I think I saw like the end scene of it or something like that. So now I feel like I almost have to go back and watch that. But I mean, how badly you want to talk about? Okay, so After Earth was a misfire. Like it had all the recipe ingredients for success, and just didn't come together and gel, and didn't mesh. Aliens versus Predator seems like such a fucking surefire slam dunk, and yet it failed. I think the first one I can't say it failed because I haven't really watched it. I just know from secondhand, just it just didn't take off like people thought it would. And then, but it must have done well enough, or I don't know, maybe the idea was so great that they were like, yes, let's just automatically sign up for a 2-picture deal, like no questions asked. Or maybe Aliens vs. Predator showed enough promise that they were like, yeah, let's do a sequel. But if you're going to do it, is this the way you go about it? This came out Christmas Day 2007. Where the fuck was I Christmas Day 2007? I believe that was my first Christmas out of New Jersey. So it was my first Christmas in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, because my mother sold after my father passed in 2006. Mother moved down there in 2007, and yeah, so that was my first Christmas in South Carolina, coming to raise up. But fuck, dude, like what the hell? How do you blow something that's such a layup? And I guess they got maybe too cocky, and they were like, "Nah, we don't need any name brand actors. All we need is those aliens and that Predator, and then we need one that's like a mix of the two, and that'll be enough to draw in millions, and people will love it." And they were wrong, because what makes Predator the original so good? If your answer is not Arnold Schwarzenegger, you're lying to yourself. You're playing yourself. Jesse Ventura didn't hurt. That cast was just phenomenal in Predator. I mean, the one-liners, the dialogue, the music, the setting, everything worked for Predator in 87. And then 20 years later, you don't do, I mean, other than the Predator, the characters of the aliens and the Predator, how is this even a Predator movie? And that's what's so sad about this, is like the producers honestly thought, that's the main draw, is how gruesome and gory the Predator and the aliens can get. That they thought like, oh, if we just up that factor, we're looking at cash money, y'all. And it's like, nah, son. The one kind of logline synopsis is: warring alien and predator races descend on a rural Colorado town where unsuspecting residents must band together for any chance of survival. Directed by the brothers Strauss, Colin and Greg, which, the balls on you motherfuckers. Thinking you can go by the brothers Strauss and not the Strauss brothers. And like that's your gimmick. That's like how you get jobs, is like, oh, have you heard about the brothers Strauss? No, but it's so funny and funky how they have things reversed. Like they're the brothers Grimm. So they directed Skyline together, which was so bad it was good. and ended up getting like 2 sequels. I still haven't seen it. They also directed the music videos for Usher's "Love in This Club," in this club, in this club, which one of my favorite all-time songs. Nickelback, "How You Remind Me," which, you know what? I know people like love shitting on people that like Nickelback, but I don't know. Dude, Spider-Man came out in 2002 and Nickelback's like, crooning about heroes. I was all about it. And then the Brother Strauss also directed Linkin Park's Crawling in my skin. So I don't know. I like their taste in music videos. I don't know about How You Remind Me, but and then it was written by Shane Salerno, who wrote Savages, which was with Blake Lively and that one guy and the other guy, which was just all about like I assume marijuana and threesomes, which is 2 things I'm not familiar with or not good at. And then Salerno is also writing Avatar 2 through 5. Kind of interesting. And then he's also going to write Gears of War, which we all know video games usually don't translate into good movies. Good video games don't translate into good movies. So expectations not very high. But man, I really hope that they nail this one. Because Gears of War, even though it's a video game I never played, it just looked fucking cool. That was like the one video game where I was like, I might get back into video games. Because it was right around the time where I kind of got out. And the only time I played video games was when I would go home to visit. And Gears of War was like, maybe I should get back into things. And so that movie, hoping that like kind of bucks the trend. Anyway, AvP Requiem, which I had to look up Requiem. I had to actually Google the definition of Requiem for this because I know that Requiem for a Dream is like one of the best movies of all time that I will only watch once. And that's it. I can safely say that's a good movie. I don't want to see it ever again. So I just know Requiem for a Dream. So I was like, but I never bothered to look up what Requiem meant. I never knew that Requiem was like a song or a chant that is performed at the Mass of the Dead. Did not know that. But after watching this movie, yeah, that makes sense. Because legit, everyone fucking dies. The movie pulled in $41.8 million domestically, $88.5 million internationally for a worldwide take of $130 million. Opened with about $10 million at number 6, fell out of the top 10 within 2 weeks. Yikes, bro. The critics' consensus from Rotten Tomatoes: the increased gore and violence over the first Alien vs. Predator can't excuse Requiem's disorientating editing, excessively murky lighting, and lack of new ideas. I mean, a yes. I watched it during the day. Bad move, because the sunlight, the sunlight comes in through a bunch of places in this house, and like it reflects on the screen, so it's already having a tough time trying to see what's going on. And then everything's so fucking dark in this movie, and the camera's so goddamn shaky that it's just like I have no idea what's going on. 11% of critics gave it a favorable review with an average rating of 3.15 out of 10. I think that's still better than After Earth somehow. 30% of audiences gave it a favorable rating with an average rating of 2.58 out of 5. Apparently this is a direct continuation of the first AvP film, so both films take place in 2004. What a time to be alive in 2004. Times were simpler then. Times were simpler, tell you that much. I was in the process of getting catfished by a junior in high school. Sophomore in high school? Great. Bill Paxton was approached to play the diner chef so he could appear in the second Predator, Alien, and AvP film in each franchise. However, scheduling conflicts prevented him from making an appearance. Danny Glover, who starred in Predator 2, was considered to reprise his role as Mike Harrigan, now retired. Make it happen, producers. Get Bill Paxton involved. Get Danny Glover involved. Get someone from the original cast of Predator involved. Get someone from the original cast of Aliens involved. Give me something more than just the Predator and the Aliens. Because like I said, everybody dies. Every character that you're introduced to is, you can tell right off the bat is like, like if you're the protagonist, I don't know if I'm on board. And then they just end up getting offed anyway. And anyone that you get any kind of emotional investment in, or where you think you're just about to like, oh, maybe this is the person I need to follow and root for. And it's just like, nope, offed, skinned alive, dissected, vivisected, whatever the fuck that means. But Jesus Christ, I don't understand how anyone can think that you get like a couple of brothers who have directed music videos and a bunch of actors who are just kind of like, yeah, no offense, I'm no actor, so I have no right? I have no right to criticize, but it almost feels like someone was under contract or contractually obligated to make this movie and forgot about it. And then they were like, whoa, we have to put out this movie before 2008. Dude, it's like Thanksgiving. We need to get this fucking movie out. Just pull a bunch of the alien props out of the storage, get the Predator costume on this guy because he's available, because he ain't got anything else going on. And let's make a music video. Fucking A, man. And I'm very into the versus movies. And so far they have not done well. Batman versus Superman. People have been done ever since I saw that fucking logo in I Am Legend that came out, I guess, ironically, and it also came out in 2007 with Will Smith, tying it all together, bringing it all together. When I saw that Batman versus Superman logo, I was like, it is on. It is fucking on. We've been having this debate for so goddamn long. Let's get it on screen. Let's do it. Let's find out. And then we got Batman versus Superman. It was just like, all right, Martha, really? Martha, that's what's gonna bring you guys back down to earth? Okay, that's your bonding moment. You both have a mom with the same fucking first name. God damn it. So I mean, like, I think there was even a video game, RoboCop versus Terminator. I would watch that movie. So like Alien versus Predator, I wanted to watch that movie. And then, it doesn't get the hype, the word of mouth isn't there, and you just lose interest. And it's just like, what a blown opportunity, wasted opportunity. Anyway, the director of photography, Daniel Pearl, stated that he wanted to visually differentiate this movie from the Alien vs. Predator that came out in 2004, which he criticized for its use of fixed cameras, wide shots, and excessively bright lighting because, in his opinion, this revealed way too much of the creatures, reasoning that monster horror works better in dark environments with documentary-style photography. Pearl employed handheld cameras and dimly illuminated sets to get the desired effect. Ironically, the film would later be criticized mostly for its overuse of shaky cam and excessively murky lighting, people complaining that they couldn't see much of the action. Yeah, dude, I mean, there's got to be a happy medium, right? I mean, it's similar to what happened with Godzilla, King of the Monsters. It's just like, why is every fight taking place in like heavy rainfall or snowfall or volcanic ash? Like, I can't see shit. Gotta be able to see a little bit of something. yeah, so I just disappointed overall, all around. Like, I'll even take so bad it's good, but this was like so bad that it's like, oh, it's just kind of a bummer. I mean, there are still some lines here or there where you're like, oh my God, that's an actual line in an actual movie that's actually been produced. Wow. Um, the point of the movie where I was just like, what is this movie? Was when the hot blonde is like trying to seduce the scrawny kid who got his ass kicked by her ex-boyfriend. And they go to the high school or something like that, and they're by the pool and they're gonna swim, and she's like, I forgot my bathing suit. And then she strips down to her underwear, and there's like a series of like over the top gratuitous ass shots, or like just body shots. Like, we're just gonna zoom in real close on her ass, we're gonna zoom in real close on her torso, her stomach, her back, and like we're just gonna really just soak it in. And then she gets fucking killed, like the scene later. It's like, okay. It's like they almost fell into like Friday the 13th mode, where it's like, yeah, that makes sense for Friday the 13th, because it's a bunch, like, that's the whole theme of the movie, the franchise, like horned up teens trying to fuck get murdered by a machete wielding maniac. That's kind of the plot. Here it's just like a small Colorado town tries to survive an attack from aliens and predator, but it's like we're just gonna have this like kind of out of place, like gratuitous ogling moment of this chick, where I'm just like, okay, but what? Yeah. God damn it. Someone someday, maybe I'll be the person to do it, but someone someday is going to write a good versus movie. And there's about a dozen ideas that I can come up with that I think would work. That, given the advancement of technology and given the de-aging process, the fact that you can just stick the younger version of an actor's face on a stunt body double, I think you're gonna see like the Legends series, almost like, you have in video games you can unlock the Legends, like in Madden or something. That's gonna happen with like movies in like 20 years. I'll be old and gray. I'll be 60, but I will definitely get my fucking bony, like calcium deprived ass to the movie theater to watch like Rambo versus Commando, or I mean, I guess we're getting it with Godzilla versus King Kong as the next one to come out, but I'm not holding my breath on that one. RoboCop versus Terminator. Just fucking, who cares? The Terminator franchise is so like not going anywhere, in my opinion. Like, Schwarzenegger has pretty much hung it up. Like, he's donezo. Linda Hamilton, this was kind of her last hurrah, I felt like, even though it seems like it's gonna continue with her and the chick. It just doesn't feel the same. So I feel like, and RoboCop has been, they tried to do that fucking reboot, which I didn't watch. But yeah, just give us RoboCop versus Terminator. Gives a shit. But you gotta get like people who are like hardcore fans of the franchise with a proven track record, not a couple of brothers with a stupid name that have done music videos. No offense. I like how I started off the show by like getting so pissed about a troll online who, I think it's funny that people are like, oh, well, you're mad online. I'm like, I'm man enough to admit, yeah, I'm mad online. I get mad. Maybe you have the emotional wherewithal, control, intelligence, whatever, to not get mad, but no, I get mad. God damn. I still think at some point It's been fucking 13 years? Although we did get the Predators, we do have 2 more Predator movies that came out, and we did get 2 more Alien movies that came out too. Shit. Prometheus, which had one of the best trailers of all time, which I watched on a plane and I almost threw up everywhere. That pretty much happens with every Alien movie. I just almost throw up every Alien movie because that stupid chest buster or whatever it's called. They got the face hugger, they got this chest buster. And then Alien Covenant, which I just watched, I think last year, which were good, which weren't bad. I'd say maybe Covenant was better than, I don't know. But then we had The Predators in 2010, which I saw that recently again. And that was a good follow-up. That was like, okay, we're going to kind of, it'll have the same kind of flavor. Spiritually, it will feel the same as the Predator that came out in 87. We're going to go back to the jungle, but it's not going to be Earth. We slowly find out it's like the Predator's home planet, or it's a different planet. The cast of characters they had was amazing. Adrian Brody, Mahershala Ali, which I didn't know at the time that was Mahershala Ali. But like, okay, you have a Yakuza, you have a mercenary, you have a sniper, you have but like you have every like great warrior on this battlefield that the Predator that is going to go up against the Predator. Like that was nice. That's exactly what I'm looking for in a Predator movie. Not a bunch of like people in a Colorado town just get fucking demolished by not just aliens and the Predator, but also like a nuke at the end. It's like, I'm just watching death. Is this fun for anyone? But yeah, I mean, Faces of Death, hugely popular back in the day, so I can see why there is a small contingency that just fucking loves that shit, but not this guy. Needed something a little bit extra. And then there was The Predator. So there's Predators 2010, and there was The Predator in 2018, I believe, with like Olivia Munn and the dude from Narcos and Michael Keegan Key from Key and Peele. And I don't know. That one, spiritually, I understand what they were trying to go for, but still didn't have the same. Written by Shane Black. It might have been directed by Shane Black too, who was actually in Predator and is, I guess, his most noteworthy for selling like the screenplay to Lethal Weapon at the age of like 21 or something for a shit ton of money. So I was super hyped about that. I was like, oh, Shane Black, he knows how to write a movie. He'll like knock it out of the park. And it was like, meh. It was all right. But I almost would go back to the source. Like they always, when you look at IMDb, they have the credits and they go characters by, and they have these names because they get credits because they created the character of Predator and Aliens. And it's just like, how about you just go back to the well on those people and say, hey, where would you like to see these characters go? And who else would you like to see be introduced? And I don't know. Damn it. All right. So that's AvP Requiem. And then we'll finish out the movie section by just talking about the host. And so this has been in my Netflix queue for a while. And of course, Parasite wins a bunch of awards at the Oscars. And I'm now hooked on Bong Joon-Ho and his like portfolio. And I go to Netflix to fire up my queue to watch the host because I'm into it. I'm catching that fever. And but of course it's not on Netflix anymore. And of course it's not anywhere anymore because that's how capitalism works. When there is no demand, look at all the supply. And then when there's a high demand, look at the lack of supply. I'm not knocking it. It's just like, come on. So I ended up having to like subscribe to some weird channel on Amazon Prime just to watch it. And of course, the audio wasn't synced with the video the entire time, but luckily there's um, super obnoxiously large English subtitles the whole time. And I still love the movie. I love the host. It was good. And it is, I mean, you watch and you're like, oh yeah, I can see the similarities between Parasite and the host. So this was a 2 hours long action drama horror with a little bit of comedy. Came out March 30th, 2007. And synopsis is the plot is that a monster emerges from Seoul's Han River and begins attacking people. One victim's loving family does what it can to rescue the daughter from its clutches. Which I don't know what the symbolism is behind that. Maybe I'm overthinking it, but the fact that the monster comes out of the Han River and just lays waste to everyone, just eating people left and right and destroying people, and then just like picks up the girl with his tail and swims away with his tail above water, and then just kind of just drops her in this like, I don't know, sewer area, and like doesn't try and eat her at all until like much later on. I don't know what the meaning was behind that. I don't know. I'm probably reading too much into it. It was just like a happenstance kind of thing, but I don't know. But so twisted, sick and twisted. That Bong Joon-Ho, his cruel, sick and twisted humor is full force in this movie, which I like and I appreciate. You know, domestically, pulled up 2.2 mil. Internationally, it did 87.2 mil for a worldwide gross of 89. The critics' consensus from Rotten Tomatoes is that as populace pleasing as it is intellectually satisfying, the host combines scares, laughs, and satire into a riveting monster movie. I mean, fuck yeah. 93% of critics gave it a favorable review with an average rating of 7.73 out of 10. 72% of the audience gave it a favorable review with an average rating of 3.67 out of 5. And I would say even that's a little low. I'm more with the critics on this one. I think I would give it a 4 out of 5, maybe even higher. The ending is fucked up. I mean, there's no two ways about it, but I mean, that's just Bong being Bong. That's just Joon-Ho being Joon-Ho. I'm sure I'll get someone like, you know, the Korean version of Alex Torres fucking ripping me apart in the comments. Looking forward to it. As of March 2009, this is the highest grossing film to date in South Korea, selling a total of 13 million tickets. That's a nice little take. Bong Joon-Ho and the designer of the creature nicknamed it Steve Buscemi based on the actor's screen persona and the way it acted and he acted in Fargo. This movie is included in Quentin Tarantino's top 20 favorite films released between 1992 and 2009. And it's included amongst the 1001 movies you must see before you die, edited by Steven Schneider. And yeah, definitely try and see it before you die. And I feel like at this point that Bong Joon-Ho and Quentin Tarantino need to collabo. And yeah, I'm probably asking for too much, and that's probably too greedy of me. And odds are that they will have conflicting visions, or they'll either get along too well and say yes to everything, and then it'll come out like, you know, a bucket of slop. But why not? Just give it a shot. But yeah, I really appreciated this movie. I liked it a lot. And yeah, that's my review. I don't know. I want people to see it because I don't think a lot of people have seen it, so it's kind of weird for me to kind of just go into the details of it. I will say the special effects for a movie that essentially was made in 2006, pretty good. I think they did a great job of blending like CGI with actual practical effects. I think believe there were some practical effects in there a little bit. And, you know, it had, I mean, his ability to mix humor into, like, there was the scene at like the memorial where they think the daughter's dead and they got her picture up on like this huge, along with the pictures of all the other victims that were lost in the attack. And just the simple act of like the family coming together. We see the family coming together for the first time on screen, and they're all wailing away and crying to the point where it's like almost like too much, like it's over exaggerated. And just that simple little simple little reaction or emotion of the group, like trying to come together and comfort each other and crying so much, but also getting annoyed with each other and pissed off by each other's like over emotiveness. It's just so funny. I appreciate that. And then, yeah, I mean, it definitely wasn't just a giant spoof or a parody. I mean, like there were some real moments where it's like, oh shit, you know, where the monster comes out of nowhere and attacks. And I did not, that's not how I pictured the monster. Like when I could see it on screen, I was like, oh, this is kind of looks like what is that thing from Star Wars? Like a combination of creatures from Star Wars. It almost looked like 2 legs, not 4. It looked like I guess you could say it looked like a tadpole with legs. Like, you know how there's that, I guess that chart, there's like the evolution of man, but there's also like how life started, where it started off with like, an amoeba, and then an amoeba grew into like a tadpole, and then the tadpole grew legs and became a lizard or a frog, and then blah blah, which I guess was part of the animation in Jurassic Park. Now I'm thinking about it, but like it looked like a giant version of like the tadpole as it got legs, long ass tail, but then all these like funky things coming out of it, all because some dickhead, old guy decided to pour. He ordered his Korean partner scientist, to dump all the formaldehyde in the lab down the sink because the bottles were dusty, which apparently, according to IMDb trivia, is a real thing. Like that actually happened. But of course, like no monsters were created because of it. The dad in The Host is also, I believe, the dad in Parasite. And he's just a funny dude. I like him a lot. So yeah, The Host, definitely check it out. What's it about? Turn this mother out. Okay, spoilers. The daughter dies at the end. Sorry. Such a and such a I mean, she's alive. She's managed to survive all these ordeals, all these close calls. She's used her wits, her smarts, her abilities to evade the monster, has narrowly escaped death multiple times, has taken this other kid under her wing and has taken care of him, and just at the end dies. And then the kid that she kind of saves, because the monster ends up like I guess putting both of them in his mouth. So he doesn't necessarily eat them yet. He doesn't like chew them up and swallow them, but he has them. They're in the process of being swallowed when, the family ends up attacking it and getting it to spit up the 2 kids. And I guess the way that she was holding the boy ultimately saved him. So, and the boy didn't really have a family, and the guy that he was with got nixed by the monster. So then the father ends up like, I guess, unofficially adopting the boy. This is a very like bittersweet ending where it's like, lost my daughter, got a son. Ugh. But Bong Joon-Ho, he's got the fucking formula down pat. He plays to what we know and what we expect, and then he just little slight deviations here and there, which is exactly what people are looking for. They're looking for something familiar but unique. So Anyway, I bring that up because um, my mother-in-law and father-in-law come over and we're like, I think they asked, did you watch the Oscars? Or we just said, oh yeah, we watched this really great movie called Parasite, a couple weeks ago, and it's so good, and we were so excited that it won all the Oscars, and it's definitely worth all the hype. And like, I didn't want to buy into it, but then I watched it and it's amazing. Da da da. And so I guess we can actually convince them to watch it. And so they watched it, and then they text my wife, and they were like, we watched Parasite, hated it, period. It's just like, ooh. And then she posted on Facebook, Parasite sucked, period. It's just like, oh boy. Well, you can't win them all. I'd just like to know why. Like, what about it sucked? I mean, yeah, there is a point where you feel like a little bit, I don't know, maybe hoodwinked or something, where it's like, okay, this family, we're rooting for this family. They're obviously the protagonist, and we want to get behind them and support them. And they're so funny, and like they're so clever and crafty. At the same time, oh, they just kind of killed that woman. Oh, they're now drunkenly boasting about how they're taking advantage of this rich family. And so then it's kind of like, a little bit of a reversal, and you kind of like the pendulum swings the other way, and you're like, I don't know if I like this family anymore. But then they bring you right back. And so it definitely plays with your emotions. And that just doesn't work for some people. So maybe that was it. But it's always a bummer, though. It's disappointing when you're like, oh, yeah, this movie is so great, and you should definitely watch it, and blah, blah. And then someone watches it, and they're just like, nope. And you're like, why? And you're like, and the person's just like, I don't know. Didn't like it. And I'm like, oh, I need to know. Yeah, so that's that. I'll quickly go over the Mets and Giants, the 2-hour mark. Why not? I don't have a whole lot about the Mets, and maybe I should just honestly just stop talking about the Mets, because I've kind of lost interest. And I know that's really not what Mets fans want to hear right now, if there are any Mets fans listening. But fuck, man. I was riding. I mean, we had the high of, we hired Carlos Beltran. We all got on board that train. Steve Cohen's going to buy like majority, minority stake, and the franchise is going to turn this motherfucker around. He's going to pump some cash into this and put some dollars down on some high quality players that can make a difference right away. And then it just falls apart. Beltran's caught up in that Astros scandal. We now have this like Rojas dude who I don't know. Like everyone just keeps saying, oh, he comes from a good baseball family and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, I don't know. I'm not like, I'm not getting too amped about it. Then Steve Cohen like backs out of the deal, and now we're stuck with the Wilpons again. So I mean, it stinks because, I mean, Callaway was holding the squad back last year, and now it seems like this guy maybe he doesn't have like managing experience at the professional level, but he has a ton of minor league managing experience. So maybe he can all he's got to do is just not fuck up the critical junctures of the game, like moments where even an average manager can handle, and where Mickey just fell short completely. Mickey admitted in a recent interview that he has PTSD from his time with the Mets. It's like, well, yeah, I can totally see why. You made some really questionable decisions repeatedly over the course of 2 seasons that you could say cost us games, cost us wins. And then you did not handle the aftermath very well either. So it's like, you were questioned about it, and then you gave us some weird half-assed answer or some wackadoo answer or whatever that no one wants to hear because, I don't know. And now, I can see why you would have PTSD, because you're in this market, in the New York market, you can't just like, you need to be mentally strong, which I am not. I mean, I'm complaining about one person leaving 3 nasty comments on a fucking stupid video on YouTube that no one saw except him. What's such a weird move? Now there were rumors. I mean, not now. Recently, rumors that A-Rod was going to buy the Mets, which mixed feelings. I know it's a shock because I always have mixed feelings, and I'm always trying to look at it from both sides, which is not what sports personalities, popular sports personalities do. They just take a side and run with it. He has a hot take. I don't know. I liked it at one point, and then someone compared it to Derek Jeter buying the Marlins, and I was like, oh, I now hate this because it's like, look at what Jeter's doing to the Marlins. I mean, they're fucking nobodies. He's just constantly selling off his young talent and not bringing anyone back in exchange. He's like literally pulling a real life version of Major League. So I don't know. I get what's weird to me is that A-Rod claims he was a Mets fan growing up. And it's like, dude, you had the chance to, I mean, you pretty much had the chance to play for the Mets, I guess, after the 03 season, 04 maybe, when he ultimately signed with the Yankees. And it was all because Brian Cashman is the fucking man. And our management has just blown for so long. But if we just had any kind of capable management, where would we be if A-Rod actually became a Met? He played for the Yankees until what, 17, 16 or something like that? 14, like 11 years? I mean, he would have gone down as the best Mets insert position here. Third base or shortstop, whatever he wanted to play. He would have gone down as the best. And he would have been in the Mets Hall of Fame. He possibly would have gone into the Hall of Fame as a Met. So it's kind of curious that it's like, were the Mets really your favorite team growing up? Because why wouldn't you just fucking play for them? This is like my dream. So for him to buy the Mets because he said he grew up as a Mets fan is just kind of interesting. It's like, well, maybe, I don't think Jeter is a huge fan of the Marlins growing up. So, obviously A-Rod can't buy it by himself, but if he's got the fact that he's got J-Lo on his arm and J-Lo has influence, A-Rod's got influence, they could put together a nice little group, investors group, to buy the Mets and really make them contenders, similar a la what the Dodgers did. I mean, the Dodgers had, I guess, at one point Magic Johnson in his circle of influence that were able to pump cash into the Dodgers, and now they got fucking Mookie Betts. Dodgers just keep landing big names, and although they haven't won, at least they're contending. I don't know. It still feels like even if we do have Yo back healthy, and he does look like functional at this point, still feels like we're one piece short. Still feels like we need one more piece, and that piece is not Jed Lowrie, who was spotted with a fucking gigantic leg brace. I mean, at some point, I think we just all need to collectively hire an assassin or a hitman and just take him out and put him out of his misery. Kidnap him, dump him in Antarctica. Just like, he needs to disappear at this point, because it's just like, he's just a constant reminder of like everything that went wrong with Brodie Van Wagenen. So yeah, I'm sure I'm missing some recent Mets news. I've just been so fucking out of the loop. There's just no time to check in on them. Let me look here. Oh, Seth Lugo. Yeah. Fucking broken pinky toe or something. God damn it. That figures. That's just so Mets. Makes a lot of sense. Oh, Howard Johnson not being in the Mets Hall of Fame is a sin. Yeah, dude. 200 stolen bases, 200 homers, 200 doubles, 2 All-Star selections. I mean, he was my favorite player, Mets player, which is saying a lot about me growing up. But yeah, I've said it before. I'll say it again. I wrote to Nintendo and was like, you need to make Hojo's 3030 Club video game. They were like, are you fucking kidding me? Howard Johnson. Okay. Oh yeah, the NL, the National League, rumors that they're going to adopt the DH, which, I used to adamantly defend the National League. I was like, oh, that's what makes the National League so great, is that we don't have the DH, and that when we go up against the American League in the World Series, we force the American League team to take out one of their best hitters, and like that gives us the edge because we played without it, and blah 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 blah. And now it's like, fuck it, let's just get a goddamn DH, because there's so many people that were on our radar, but we didn't sign because they couldn't be the DH. Nelson fucking Cruz, dude, was always mentioned as someone that we would probably pursue or go after in free agency, and we didn't because the guy couldn't play in the field. And I'm hoping this happens sooner rather than later, because then we can fucking lock up Yo. Just let him hit. Doesn't have to worry about playing the field. Doesn't have to worry about running too much. Just mash balls. Someone, SNY, tweeted, imagine this, the 2006 Mets featuring David Wright, Carlos Beltran, Carlos Delgado with Mike Piazza at DH. I mean, yeah, we would have fucking won the World Series for show. For show. Luis Rojas. Oh my God. I don't know. Maybe I'm completely wrong about him, but it's just takes a lot of wind out of our sails to just be like, all right, Beltran, Cohen got so much momentum, and then just to have to take it like it all to go away. All to go away. But yeah, I'm pro DH at this point. I'm sick of like holding on to it. Matthew Bronstein, he tweeted, this is back in late January. Got a lot of catching up to do. Top spenders in the National League East, the Nats at $318 million, $17 million. Phillies at $132 million, Braves at $116, the Mets at $24 million, the Marlins at $23.8 million. We're like right above the Mets. Top spenders in free agency in the National League East. Yeah, I mean, you had to know that we weren't going to spend like a bunch in free agency this off season, but that's kind of oof. And granted, I mean, I don't think they're like I said, they're not far off, but like, gotta give me a little bit more than that. Would have been nice. Would have been nice. Edwin Diaz has been ranked as a top 10 reliever in baseball. Yeah. One shit season is not going to knock you out. Now you have another shit season. Yeah, then you're in trouble for sure. I think that whatever Major League Baseball did to the ball last year is not going to happen this year. And he'll be back. He won't be back to what he was in 2018 with the Mariners, but I think we'll see. He'll be right in between where he was last year and 2018, which is just just enough. It'll be enough for us. There's just what we need. Mets Rewind tweeted February 9th, 1982, the Mets signed George Foster to a 5-year, $10 million deal, completing the deal that sent Jim Curran, Greg Harris, and Alex Trevino to the Reds after 4 years in New York. Foster is granted an unconditional release during the 1986 season after accusing the organization of racism. Wouldn't be the first time. I mentioned this in a previous show, but I ended up writing a huge blog post in 2012, which I don't even know where it is now. I think I put it on my Tumblr or something like that, which no longer exists. Maybe, I don't know. What if the Mets drafted Reggie Jackson because they had the opportunity to draft Reggie Jackson, but didn't because the GM or the owner was racist? I just couldn't stand that Reggie Jackson was a black man. But sucks for George Foster. Really sucks because, I mean, we won the World Series, dude. And you could have been a part of it. I would love to know what actually happened there. Like, what made him think that there was racism? I mean, we had Doc Gooden, Darryl Strawberry, Kevin Mitchell. Did we have Rafael Santana? Was he on that team? Mookie Wilson. Matthew Brownstein yet again. I mean, I keep quoting his stats. I always bookmark his stats. His handle's M Brownstein 89. If you're like super into the Mets and you want to get some quality Mets statistics, he's a great follow. He tweeted out some stats about Amed Rosario that bolsters my faith and support in Amed. His K percentage has gone down over the past 3 seasons from 28.8% to 18.9%. His hard hit percentage has increased from 25% to 39%. His average exit velocity has increased from 84 to 89. And his, I don't even know what the fuck this is, XWOBA. Sounds important, but it's gone up from 245 in 17 to 320 in 2019. So do not give up on Amed Rosario. Not that, I mean, I did in July when I first started this show. But I'm definitely, he's a key essential piece. And it'll make you feel better about dealing a shortstop. I think I'm more likely to deal one of the prospects at shortstop. And I know Alex Torres is probably ready to troll me for it. But one of the prospects that I mentioned in that video that he fucking sewered me on, giving up one of our shortstop prospects in exchange for another piece because we have Amed Rosario and we should just lock him up for a handful of years. I'm more inclined to do that than just to deal Rosario and hope, cross your fingers that our prospect will turn out. That Seth Lugo injury, god damn it, so stupid. So Mets. All right, so that's Mets. Let's talk Giants. There's a lot to talk about here. Maybe not so much, but we haven't talked about them in a while. Pro Football Focus, which we all have our opinions about PFF. We can either use it to support our argument or we can shit all over them for being completely wrong. This one, it's been getting a lot of traction. It came out a while ago, but PFF tweeted out that none of the Giants' impending free agents were key pieces for the team in 2019. That hurts. Especially when you think about what we should do with Marcus Golden. You know, he's an impending free agent. He had some like 10 plus sacks, most since I guess it would be LT. And now it's like he wasn't a key piece for us in 2019. Pretty sure. I know Big Blue Vu. Oh, come on, Neal. Come on. Get your mouth to act right. Big Blue View had a film study where they asked if Marcus Golden is worth a top tier pass rusher money. You know what? I used to side on yes, he is. And yeah, I'm starting to think no. I'm starting to think no. Is there a TLDR? I mean, this is a long ass post. Final thoughts. Golden is a good pass rusher in the NFL. He has multiple moves, can bend through contact while showing solid ankle and hip flexion, and he possesses solid power and very strong hands at the point of attack. He ranks 100th in rushing defense according to PFF. Oof. But yeah, ultimately, you can't justify paying Golden a contract that he may have played himself into. He's not a number one pass rusher, which I agree with. He's more of a number two. And as they say, BBV says he's similar to what Arizona had in Chandler Jones and Calais Campbell in 2016. So yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be like devastated or severely saddened if he left and signed somewhere else. I think he was a nice, pleasant surprise for us. I'm not sure what he would have needed to do in order to get that top pass rusher money. I mean, maybe 16 sacks. I mean, if once he gets above 15, then you got to start thinking, okay. I mean, if he's averaging almost a sack per game, that's hard to ignore. But yeah. Bon voyage. I think there's better players to be had for that money, which stinks because it was nice to see him have such a great season and emerge from it. How about Dave Tollison saying that he was not a fan of Jerry Reese and Mark Ross? I mean, I think that might be the first, and I could be wrong about that, but the first player from that era that came out and said, nah, Reese and Ross, not where it's at. Some speculation that the Giants might sign Devin McCourty because he's from Jersey, went to Rutgers, knows Joe Judge well. Obviously he would probably be the defensive captain, could bring some experience and some, just a culture of winning to the unit. He is 32 years old. So who knows how many years he has left. I don't know that Bethea was like 35 and you could just see that he's not what he was. So I don't know. Do you sign him for 4 years knowing that you probably get 2 good ones? Is that worth it? I mean, at this point, I think, Gettleman's so desperate. And I think Mara is desperate as well, so that they're probably in win now mentality. I mean, they've been so like averse to saying they're in rebuild mode. They tried to rebuild by also winning. That I think it's now they got to push all their chips in the middle of the table. Shout out Jim Fossil. Leonard Williams could seek $15 million a year from the Giants. I think this report kind of got out of hand because I don't think he is looking for $15 million a year. Is he worth $10 million a year? It's all about them sacks, baby. What do the Giants lack most on defenses? From Art Stapleton, speed. They're devastatingly slow. Watch those defenses last night, referencing the Chiefs and Niners. That's why, and he says that's why Isaiah Simmons is so intriguing. Must be a point of emphasis this offseason. I've seen the gamut of opinions on fucking Isaiah Simmons. The most recent one I saw that was kind of like baffled me was like, I think the fact that he doesn't have that he plays so many positions is a detriment to who he is and what he can do in the NFL. Okay, dude. It's from a person that I generally agree with on a lot of things and respect. And I was just like, that's the take you're going with? Is it because everyone is so like gung-ho about him, but now you got to present this other perspective to get clicks? You do what you got to do, but holy shit, man. NJ.com posted a mock trade that involves the Giants and Chargers. Giants get 6th overall, 71st overall, and a 3rd and 21. Chargers get the 4th overall. And seeing as the Chargers and Phillip Rivers are parting ways, they need a QB. Makes sense. There are a bunch of teams now that need QBs that would probably love to be in that 4 spot. So, and then this is from WBG84. I don't know who that is, but he's popular on that. He's popping off on that Twitter. And so in that scenario, LA would get Tua, and then the Giants would get Simmons at 6. 5 low-cost free agents for the Giants. This is from Big Blue View. They have Emmanuel Ogbah as an edge defensive end, unrestricted free agent from Kansas City. He originally played with the Browns and then made his way to the Chiefs and hasn't really been like a standout player. I know that he was kind of in the mix in 2016 for the draft that I thought might be a nice solid pick. And hasn't really put up like crazy numbers, but 6'4", 275, had tested really well at the combine, 91st percentile in 10-yard split, 40-yard dash, 83rd percentile in broad jump. So physical specimen, 19 sacks, 19 batted passes, 85 hurries, 2 seasons of 5.5 sacks. Only 26. Tajay Sharp, unrestricted free agent, wide receiver, 6'2", 194. Only played 44% of offensive snaps, but he's a good blocker, and he's only 25, and he's a solid route runner. Tavon Austin, which is you could talk to your blue in the face on Tavon Austin about how he's great and fits, and Jason Garrett, and there's a lot of that going on where there's a lot of like Cowboys that are now available that we all just assume, oh, Jason Garrett, he can just talk them into coming over, and it's like, I don't know about that. Tavon Austin for me is a hard pass. I just don't. He's one of those guys that has been so overrated his entire career. And Tavon, if you watch this or you listen to this, and you're like, hey, you motherfucking cracker honky, understandable, you know? But hopefully, you will sign with a team and you will do well. I wish you the best, just not with the Giants. I just don't think. Now that I'm giving it some more thought, I don't know. It's just like he's always been associated with potential and upside and blah blah, and he can do this and this, and he's so flexible, and you can run him out of so many different sets, and there's so many plays you can run with him, and it's just like, I don't know. He's good for like one cool play a game, maybe. I don't know. Safety Jaron Curse from Minnesota, 6'4", 215. He was relegated to the third safety role behind Harrison Smith and Andrew Zendejo, Anthony Harris. Again, these are like low-cost free agents that could help be solid contributors. And then last one is Frankie Louvu, an edge from the Jets, who is an IRFA, which the exclusive rights free agent. Yeah. Played 6% of snaps, 5 tackles, 1 sack, mostly special teams. Yeah, I feel like when sites put together lists, they always need like the one curveball. It's always like the one like Hail Mary type of player that no one at all is ever even thinking about, but they just like stumble upon and they throw together like in limited time, put up crazy number. And it's just like, no, dude, what the, like, maybe I'll be fucking eating crow, in a year, but like, I don't, no, dude, no, there's nothing you're saying in this that makes me feel like this is worth pursuing. So that's that. Potential cuts. We've been talking about this for a long time, but it seems like the time has come. Free agency is right around the corner, y'all. Alec Ogletree seems like he's donezo. Rhett Ellison's donezo. Kareem Martin's donezo. And Twin Bethea's donezo. So 2 more that are to a lesser extent may go, but I don't really see it. Nate Solder, which after finding out that his kid had the health issues that he did and being able to play through that, and I know how much that must have weighed on him. Maybe the kid takes a turn for the better and that doesn't weigh on him in 2020, gotta hope for the best. But I don't think you give up on him yet, especially considering there's just like no one out there at the left tackle position, at least in free agency, that they could sign and plug in. The hope here is that maybe there's a left tackle in the draft that kind of just is able to, but I don't see it happening. I'm not saying they shouldn't draft one, but like I just don't see them being able to draft one because it doesn't seem like they're going to go with a left tackle in the first round. But maybe you get one in the second or third, and then is that guy going to come in and start? And then you move Solder to the right tackle. I mean, that's how I see things playing out. If ideally is Solder, kind of makes his way to right tackle and becomes like a above average right tackle, and then we have the rookie at left tackle, and then we all have Eric Flowers flashbacks, and then Golden Tate. I don't know about giving up on Golden Tate just yet. It really fucking sucks what happened last year, and I think who knows where the Giants are if he actually plays the first 4 games, and then it doesn't have to knock off the rust for week 5 and 6 like he did, like he actually did. I think he brings a dynamic element to the team. Are we overpaying for him? Yeah, probably, but he's good for big plays. I mean, the guy had big plays almost every game. So, and I think it's just good to have that kind of personality in the locker room. He's not exactly Odell, but he has the flashiness and the, I think the humor to win over people. So I think you got to give him one more shot. 9 potential cap casualties that make sense for the Giants and free agency. Now, I will full on admit I have not done any research or investigation into any of these players. There are a few that I know right off the bat, and there are a few that I'm like, I need to dig a little bit deeper. Defensive lineman Marcel Darius from the Jaguars. Let's take a look at this motherfucker. All right. So, from Alabama. He was a first-round pick of the Bills in 2011. 3rd overall pick. He's 29 years old. He basically played or started in every game for the first 5 years of his career. Had a bit of a down year in 16. Split time between 2 teams in 17. Had a bounce back year in 18, and then in 19, only played in 6 games. So it looks like his best years are behind him. But maybe it's it would be a good play for depth on the defensive line. I mean, it already feels like we have a deep defensive line, but wouldn't hurt to have another one. Defensive end Everson Griffin, who had 8 sacks last season, has averaged 9.5 sacks over the last 6. I mean, would be nice to get into the rotation, but are we paying too much for him? Linebacker Mark Barron from the Steelers. Don't know a dang thing about him. Do a quick little search. Do a quick little lookup. He's 30 years old. Drafted by the Bucs in the first round. Played at Alabama. Was actually started off as a strong safety for the Bucs and then moved to linebacker eventually in his later years with the Rams and then the Steelers. Has not played a full season since 2016. I mean, AV approximate value according to PFR is like in the 6 to 7 range, which I mean, for depth. I mean, that's what we're looking at here. I mean, these are guys that are going to get cut either because their salary is too high and they're not providing value for that salary, or because their best years are behind them, but it'd be nice to have them for depth. The fourth player, Leonard Floyd, the Bears. I mean, this is the guy that we wanted. One of the two guys that we wanted in the 2016 draft, 2016 draft when we picked Eli Apple. Eli Apple was not like our first pick. I think it was Floyd, then Conklin, possibly. And we got leapfrogged by both the Bears and the Titans. The Bears got Floyd, who, from what I'm hearing, has not done like anything that special. I guess he started off hot and then he's kind of cooled off. Yeah, first round 9th pick in the 16 draft. I mean, he's played all 16 games the past 2 years. And he's got an 8 to 9 approximate value. So I'm not quite sure why the Bears would let him go. 12 QB hits last year. 3 sacks. Started off hot, though. 7 sacks his rookie season. So I wouldn't mind. Why not? He's only going to be, I guess, till turn 28. Again, depth, motherfucker. Nigel Bradham. This is one. He was a former Eagle. And the last time we saw him, he was chasing after Saquon Barkley as Saquon took it to the house. MIA, take it to the house. Bradham's a former 4th rounder, picked by the Bills in the 2012 draft. Looks like he's going to be 31. Only played in 12 games last year, but had an AV of around 7. Had 61 combined tackles after averaging around 90 to 100 for the previous 3 years. So, I mean, you know, I'm a bit gun shy bringing over former Eagles after what happened with fucking, what's his name, Connor Barwin. Connor Barwin absolutely tormented the Giants for years as the Eagles backer. And then he comes over the Giants and just doesn't do shit. Safety Rashad Jones. He played with the Dolphins. He was a Pro Bowler as recently as 2017. Out of all the players on this list, I feel like Judge is compiling people from the Patriots and the Dolphins. Those are like, you know, when Bachelor was around and Shermer was around and Gettleman had more power, it was like Panthers, Cardinals, Vikings. Those were like the 3 teams we usually plucked from. And it seems like the Dolphins are going to be the team that we pluck from now. Ugh. Did not have a great year last year. Only played in 4 games. But again, was a Pro Bowler in 15, Pro Bowler in 17. Had a decent year-ish, I guess, in 2018, but just fell off the map in 2019. He'll be 32. Wide receiver Marquise Lee. This is another guy who, like, I almost guarantee that I drafted this motherfucker every year in fantasy football, and he just never panned out. It's like as soon as I drafted him, he would get hurt, pretty much. He only started 1 game last year. Didn't play in 2018. I think his best year was in 2016. It's when the Jags went to I believe that's when the Jags went to playoffs. Yeah. So I'm kind of hesitant to bring in someone like that. Nick Easton, a center for the Saints, and then Dion Lewis, running back for the Titans. I honestly, people keep saying that we need to like solidify our running back group. I don't know what the hell happened with Wayne Gallman last year. I feel like he showed some spark. It's just like I guess he had ball control issues. So I guess you can't really depend on him. We saw a little bit of Buck Allen, and he looked okay, but that's not enough for some people. I don't see Barkley getting hurt like he did last year. I don't know. I feel like that was just a fluke. I mean, here's again, Nick Easton. Why are we even throwing this out there? He's played 3 seasons, didn't play in 2018, hasn't even started all 16 games. like I don't know, his backup. I don't know. And then Dion Lewis for the Titans. Um, I just don't see how he fits. I could see it if like Barkley was more of an Otis Anderson type. Like if you want to have that Otis Anderson, Dave Meggett kind of, you know, or Tiki Barber, Brandon Jacobs, or Ron Dane. Like you have the big burly dude who cannot catch out of the backfield, who's just a cloud of dust 3 yards, and then you have the third down back who can catch out of the backfield, make moves. Saquon is like both of those things. So I don't understand how Dion Lewis really fits into things. I mean, really well utilized in the 17 with the Pats, 1,000 total yards. And even his first year with the Titans, almost 1,000 yards total, but he just had a tremendous fall off in 2019 because I guess Variable was just like, throw that saddle on motherfucking Derrick Henry and ride that motherfucker till he breaks down. So, I mean, I'm not crazy about Dion Lewis either. So this list is kind of meh. Again, it's cap casualties. It's like the teams don't want them for one reason or another. The Lions have spoken to teams about dealing cornerback Darius Slay. And so far, the Giants have not been connected, but some people have said that it would make sense because the Giants definitely need a safety and a corner. A veteran who is proven capable. That's all we're looking for here. I don't think we're looking for, people keep, Slay, I guess, would fall under the category of like a shutdown corner, I guess. I don't really put him on the same level as like like Darrelle Revis in his prime or, anyone like that, but has proven himself to be, I guess, upperish echelon of corners. He's 29 and he wants to be the highest paid corner in the NFL, which is going to be like around 15, 16 million bucks. Giants have, I think, the third worst secondary in the NFL. PFF has said that Slay is the 5th best corner in the league since 2014. That's great and all, but I don't know that we should pursue that. I'm a bit gun shy after we went after Janoris Jenkins, signed him, and he had one stellar year and then kind of like 3 years, 3 kind of uneven and consistent years. It's like, do we do the same with Slay where like we sign him, he comes in, has an amazing year, and then it's the fall off? So I don't know. And now I'm hearing that Byron Jones, the Cowboys corner, is looking for that range as well, 16 mil per year. I don't think we need that, and I don't think we want that. I'm fine with a corner for half that price that can just suit up and not give up big plays. That's essentially what I'm looking for now. I think that money can be better spread around. Let's spread the wealth. Let's evenly distribute the money we have into players that have experience and that are average to above average. Not elite, but just like players that can identify a crossing pattern and can call it out and can defend it. That's all we're looking for here. And then Chiefs wide receiver Demarcus Robinson is a potential target in free agency for the Giants. I've seen this dude's name being thrown around, and I almost feel like, if memory serves me correctly, he's kind of like in the same vein as Tyreek Hill. But I also think I might be thinking about someone else. He's only 25, 4th round draft pick for the Chiefs. He's suited up for every single game in his 4-year career. But nothing that really jumps out at you when you look at his stats. I mean, he's a big play receiver. Averages, Oh, I was looking at the wrong freaking category. Great job, Neal. Great job. I mean, he did have his best year of his career. He didn't do anything his rookie year. And then he had his quote unquote best year last year. I mean, 14 yards of reception. Wouldn't mind that. And I think he would be able to help in the return game, which we need. We desperately need help with there. So, all depends on what he's asking for. Let's take a quick visit to SpotTrack.com. SpotTrack.com, your source for all contracts. Blah, blah, blah. All right. DeMarcus Robinson. Let's see what this guy's his market value is. Which everyone sees that market value, and then they bid that, and then he ends up getting something more. There is no market value. Sweet. Yeah, I don't know. He's only gonna be 25. I'm not like that down on a receiving core. Yes, I get that Sterling Shepard is now a concern. You can't really depend on him for a full season. I think that they would be wise to move Evan Engram to the receiver position, so you got some support there. Corey Coleman should be back and fully rested from his ACL. Hopefully that didn't take too much out of his speed and agility and quickness. You got Golden Tate. You got Darius Slayton. So I'm not too concerned about the receiver position, although we are missing, and maybe Evan Engram is that big body that we've missed ever since Plaxico. So maybe that's the case. I'm just looking at my Twitter. Let's take a quick look. Let's do a quick rundown of Twitter bookmarks. So we mentioned McCourty. I think it's a decent pickup. Like I mentioned, Isaiah Simmons seemed to be the consensus pick for the Giants at 4. Even if they trade down to 6, he still should be available. Now, Mel Kiper is saying that the Giants will select cornerback Jeff Okudah at 4th overall. I guess he's a Ohio State Buckeye. Just the mere thought of drafting another Ohio State corner that high kind of gives me the chills. I get Eli Apple flashbacks, so I don't know how I'm probably out on that, and maybe I'll live to eat my words, but like I'm out on that. I think you got to sign a veteran corner and a veteran safety, guys that have played in the league for a few years, 4 to 5 years, and are ready to make the next step and become a leader in the secondary. I think that's the route. That the route is not drafting more corners for sure. Definitely not it. So yeah, I think that's that. I don't know if I have anything else. Oh, Pat Shurmur and Mike Shula are signing up with the Broncos to, I guess, shepherd Drew Lock on his next step to the NFL Hall of Fame. Vincent Rapasardi, probably mispronouncing that. Giants only ran the ball 38 times on RPO-styled plays. That was the league average. The Ravens led the league with 186 RPO rushes. And, that's just bad play calling, because when you have someone like Daniel Jones and you have someone Saquon Barkley, that's a dual threat to run. Why not utilize that? So I can completely understand that sentiment. We need to utilize the RPO way more. Alex Wilson tweets, can we just take a second to appreciate Daniel Jones? This guy had 3 games with 4 or more touchdown passes last season. Mind you, he played in only 12 full games. He was a rookie. Alleviate the fumble concerns, and the Giants are in good shape. And I cannot heart that any harder. So I think the Giants are in a good spot. It all depends on how they spend their money. Hopefully don't blow their wad on one player, spread the wealth. address their need positions in the draft. I'm fully on board with Isaiah Simmons, and then you really got to address the offensive line, and then hopefully in free agency you pick up a veteran corner, veteran safety, maybe even a not not a top pass rusher, but someone that can get you maybe similar numbers to what Marcus Golden gave you last year, and then we should be all set. Offensive line, I think our defensive line is just about there, but it's really the offensive line shoring up the secondary. And we're golden, baby. Good to go. So that's the show. Another monster effort. A lot going on. Thanks for staying around. If you did, check me out on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, where I don't post at all, ever. Real cinch. And call the hotline 862-BIT-1986. And until next time, adios, muchachos.